almost missed it. I almost missed it. We started at 12. I almost missed starting at 12. I was vibing out, man. There was music going. It was a good time. I had realized that bag C of our good buddy the Gom over here, almost all of the parts had broken off of the little sprue trees. So just down at the bottom of the bag, there was just like a pile of parts, which we will hope to organize via the gigantic manual. We got up to like page 26 in the manual last time. We're gonna see how far we're gonna see how far we can get. I also I leafed ahead one page. I did leaf ahead one page. We've got the old style where we've got, if memory serves, we've got front upper on the wrong side, basically. We'll see how that works. We will indeed. We're gonna find out together how that works. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? It's very windy outside. It's very windy. That's not how I'm doing. That's just a statement of how things are. Driver rate says we're gonna at least get to page 28. Well, you're gonna have to. You know what? Those are rookie numbers. You're gonna have to pump those numbers up because it's literally like we've gotten down to like put in 2 screws, put in 1 screw. So even with my unbelievable abilities, we should at least get through a couple of pages. The question is, will I forget what links go where? Already did. Already have, already done. Because okay, so there's 2 of those. For those of you who remember, there's 2 of those. Autumn is here. We got wind, humidity, cold, and everything. Same. And because we had that big fire, the sky is brown because the wind is just blowing all the ash and dirt where there used to be like foliage, and now there isn't. So the sky is just brown. It's lovely. Okay, 29, but that depends on how many Red Cat rants we get. I always have one loaded up. I've always got wind no matter the time of year. We get really aggressive wind and then it stops. So here's the deal. Where's that skid plate? The skid plate it's just a small little wee baby of a skid plate with that. There he is. He's coming for you in your dreams. There he is. So I'm guessing that in a world, there is a world where you could make this thing 4-link, but looking ahead one step, it looks like the shift servo mounts to the holes that the link would go into, so I think that would impede. I found a new to me member perk and wasted it on this message. That's worthy. Come on. There we go. That's worthy of the thumbs up bubble. Mr. Z, what does SLW stand for? I had a guess, and then somebody said, oh, it stands for this. And I already forgot. Something about length and it's something dumb. It's like selectable length and width. Something length and or width. It's something like that. Vanquish made it up. It's just what they decided to call their hubs. The person who made the comment on the video, you never know, they might be here. They might be able to chime in with what it actually means. My brain can only hold on to a very finite number of things at any given time. I genuinely do not remember. We're gonna put these over there. We'll give Susan a twirl here momentarily. I'm just I'm trying to get my brain straight here. I raked yesterday morning. Silly little ladder. Yeah. Super lightweight. Is it? Could be. Maybe it is super lightweight. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else. I need that weird looking little piece. Now, hopefully... Oh, nice. Okay, back to. It gets really... It's going to get real Gmatey. Oh, we're getting all the green messages. 6-lug wheel? Could be. Could be. And that's the beauty of it. Okay, that's not it. All right, I didn't look closely enough. That's the thing. They all apply. 6-lug wheel, super lightweight. 6-lug wheel seems to make sense. I think it's one of those things where camera 3, camera 2. Hey, there's that guy. Camera 1. I think it's just we just say SLW like we don't even think about it. There was really a comet. Thought my neighbors were messing with me. Turn my backyard. So turn my backlight so they can see it. Yes. Mr. Stinky J has discovered what LED security lights are like nowadays. I have one on the front of this building. It's right over there. Its sensor is perpetually drunk. It turns on at the most random of moments. And God have mercy on your soul if you're looking anywhere in that vicinity when it turns on, because you won't be able to see anything. It is an unbelievable amount of light poured out. Brass SLWs are an oxymoron. Yeah, if it stands for super lightweight, if it stands for 6-lug wheel, then we're okay with brass. Sloppy loose wheel nut, could be. I genuinely have come to prefer the brass ones because the aluminum ones, I just had a set of wheels out. The aluminum ones get absolutely mauled. Like this, what do we go, 2? 3. We'll go 3. This is a reasonably new wheel. And in there is already getting chewed up. And then they're still doing the giant hole. That's the Vanquish living on. They're still doing the giant hole. So unless you're running a very specific wheel hex and you haven't spent all the money on those little SSD guys that fit inside the hubs, you're just wearing them thin every time you take the bolt out. Hey, another green one. I know VFD stands for very forward and down. I mean, I get it, but I don't like that. I don't want to distract you from building the GOM this in the live stream, but what wheelbase do you like for Panther Cougar size tires? 330. In that, as you just said, 330 to 340, 350 is too much. Yeah, around 330. We're going to see all the green ones. I love the green ones. What page are we now on? We're still on 26, man. People asking me things. Look at the servo mount. I haven't checked to see if a servo actually fits in it. We're going to be going in the recycling fashion of this. Okay, it just fits a standard servo. We're going to put we're putting a Vanquish VS1 in for the duty. For the duty. Yoink. Interesting. I tell you, Gmate definitely goes their own way. Now I'm in a slightly longer wheelbase. That works too. Does anyone know if a VFD twin and a Phoenix can be street swapped out for a VFD? I believe, and this is just me going off of memory, I believe the skids are slightly different. I think. I know that if you're working with a Zoku, you need a different skid for a VFD versus a VFD twin. I do know that. Yeah. So this, if you would like an explanation as to why the front link is on what we would consider to be the wrong side. Now, If you've done your geometry, you can get away with it being on the wrong side, but we also have the crinkly front upper. So we're going to see. As long as they haven't incidentally built a mountain of bump steer into this thing, I'll be fine. Stop locking windows. I think we can think of every possible permutation of what SLW stands for. Which hole? Lower. I kept getting questions from a couple people during the week that were asking me questions about, like, could you run this? And it's GOM related, so it's relevant. It's relevant. Relevant? It's relevant. People were like, could I run this motor? Could I run that motor? Would this wheel or tire or what have you be suitable? And I was like, I think a lot of people are getting are not grasping, I guess grasping is acceptable, how big the GOM is. So today, as it starts to go together, I'm hoping it will paint a clearer picture. Because, like, I sent a picture of, there is an Incision S8090, and there is the shock that goes in a GOM. So, like, these aren't crazy long. I mean, these are small compared to a Rift shock. But I also built, I threatened that I was going to build those in advance, and I did. And here's pro tip. Here's a little pro tip for you. If you're doubtful about a shock when you first build it, take a piece of notebook paper, fold it over into quarters so that you get something about like this. Put your shocks that you fresh built on it, and then come back and look at them like a day later. And if there's no big pools of oil on the piece of paper, shocks are okay. That's how I test it, because I just built another set of Chavtex. I put together a set of Chavtex. One of them did not like the bladder. It just kept puking its guts out. And I cleaned the bladder off and put it back in, and it did it again, and kind of until finally you tear open the package, get a brand new bladder, put the bladder in, and everything's perfect. I don't know. It seems like the Traxxas bladders, I feel like you get one try. Now, you leave the one that's all oily and gross off to the side, put it on a paper towel, leave it there for a couple weeks or months, and when you build your next set of fake Dravtex, that bladder will work just fine. They get the silicone on them, and then they don't want to do the things. I'm already, so everywhere all across this, they're using 3x15s. And so where the, oh, there's mounts. This is getting crazy. Short, long. All right. They want big socket caps at every junction, and I would love to switch my drivers as little as possible if setup changes need be made. So I'm just copying the lengths that they want and using my own supply of screws. It's not going to impact anything one way or the other, or we would hope. Looks like a charisma shock. Yeah, I mean, we have a set of, this is not our first experience with the G-Made XDs. We have a set of the XD. What length are they? 85s, 95s, 90s. We have one other set of that exact shock in a smaller version fitted to somebody over there. It's either Eddie or the Colonel. They all start to blur together after a while. It's one of the two is fitted with G-Mades, and they've been fine. They haven't leaked their guts out or anything. Hey, green. Ha, this is fun. You done it, boys. I wouldn't know how to do it. So we've already made 28. I don't know what to tell you. I do have to open the bag now, I think, because we need 3x20 set screws. There it is. SLW is super lightweight, made for Vanquish super lightweight aluminum wheels circa 2008. There you go. So, yes, indeed, as was mentioned, brass SLWs is a definitive oxymoron because they are not super lightweight. And I prefer the brass ones because there's a definite longevity there. When these go out, doesn't matter. Whoa, hey, take it easy. Take it easy. The assembly of the cage looks like it's going to be particularly interesting. We don't know if it will be axial level interesting. Does anyone have a 3D printer and could print me a Ford dent side, please? Pay whatever it costs. I'm desperate, so take advantage of me. Anyone over there in the European theater? Ooh, and there's colors. Help a brother out. I'm so far away, and also I'll claim 2 defenses. 1, I'm really far away. B, I don't like 3D printing things. And I'm gonna and I can't get away with it. I'm going to have to 3D print some things soon because we're starting. It came from the workbenches 48 through 51 imminently, and there's going to be 3D printing involved for at least one of them. So I can't get away with it on. I can't get away from it on 50. 3x15. There's some giant. I didn't see where these went, and now I'm anxious to find out. There's some giant fasteners on here. Oh, I would not have seen that. I printed a warthog. So what's the deal with the tightness in the axles on Bluebird? Was there tightness in the axles? What did I say it was doing wrong? I can't remember. It seemed to drive well. Tightness in the axles. What did I say? Got to be real careful on these little 3x15s not to go too far. I have Mr. C on my home stereo today. The subwoofer really likes the voice. There's a great rumble going across my floor. We can try to pitch it down a little for you. Oh, that feels weird. I can't do that for an extended period of time. I'm jealous of people that have like unnaturally deep voices. And there's that whole resonance thing where they say the voice you hear coming out of your mouth sounds different than the voice that other people hear. And I believed that up until like, I don't know, 3 years ago, give or take. I have to hear my own voice way more than I want to because I hear myself from my own head recording it, and then I have to edit it, and then I have to go through the edit again most times. I got to match up audio. I got to do all that stuff. So when I hear my voice coming out of the computer, it sounds pretty much like this. It doesn't really sound any different than this to me. So I guess that's good. Although, out of my head, my voice sounds higher than I guess because I've asked people. I'm like, does my voice sound high to you? And they go, no. I want to have the pirate software. I want to have Thor's voice. That's the voice I want. And I don't think I can have it. I can't get that voice. Did I do it right? It looks correct. Let's see. Hearing yourself sounds strange. 100%. 100%. Okay. Got this. Yeah. Wait. Oh, we can do this. We can do this proper. Okay. Let's see. All right. So, yeah? Was that 3? Yeah. Hey, look at that. Take that, naysayers. We've made it. Well, page 28 was literally put in 4 set screws and then look at it. So we blew right past that, and now we get to put some rails together. How long have we been here? 25 minutes. 25 minutes. You don't hear from around your mouth. You hear it from inside your head. Yeah, exactly. I hate hearing the sound of my recorded voice. It sounds very different to what I hear. I thought that too, but I mean, I feel like I sound like I sound. It doesn't make any sense. I can never tell. I can't remember what video I was watching, but like, okay, so this is blue, right? We have an agreement that this is blue, but the blue that I see, I don't know what anybody else sees. Their blue and my blue might be 2 completely different things. When they see this, they might see this. These 2 blues are different to me. And I'm sure they're different to them, but their blue of this might be this blue, and this blue might be another blue altogether. And hearing is the same thing. We all hear things differently. Perception is reality. I don't care what anybody else says. A little bit of 2. Oh, the side angle. A little bit of 3, the top view. We come back, we swing back around. Good afternoon from Oregon. Swampers, we're still building a GOM. They are still blue. But what is blue? We don't... Shaker MT, hey! Look at that, we haven't seen him in a minute. Don't worry, the blues look exactly the same to me. That doesn't help. That definitely doesn't help. Oh my goodness. 3x10 and 3x15. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. I thought I could set the skid down, but these actually bolt to the skid. This is going to be very interesting. Holographic reality, indeed. They are different. The rag is a little darker. God, I hope so. God, I hope so. 3 bottoms are 10s. 2 tops are 15s. 10s on the bottom, 15s on the top. Let me guess. 12s? Yep, 12s, of course. This is why I don't even bother to dig through little piles of fasteners. Oh, I'm supposed to open a whole nother bag. I think it's this one. Doesn't help. I think it's this one. When you're colorblind, all blues are different shades of gray. As I age, and the speed at which you age is definitely not a constant. What I've noticed happens is my body is producing less testosterone than it used to, and it is producing more estrogen than it used to. This is a positive and or a negative, I'm assuming. What I have noticed is I watch things on the computer and on the TV, and they have this capacity to make me emotional, but my brain doesn't compute any kind of emotional factor. Like, it's just happening. Like, when one of those Instagram reels comes up, and this will all tie together. There's a colorblind dude, and they give him those, what are they, photochromic glasses that make him able to see color. And like, you've never seen a person that happy, except maybe when they, same token, the deaf folk, and they put the implant in their brain, and now they can hear, and as they're turning the machine on, talking about it gets me choked up. I get emotionally invested in these things, and I don't know why. Like, I have no control over it. And I'm not saying that it makes me understand how women are, but but I do feel like as I age, I feel like I understand women a little bit more. A little bit. because I feel like there's a component of being at the mercy of some sort of chemistry that you're not even invested in. You know, like, I hope the mic is picking that up. I think the forecast was gusts to 32 miles an hour. What's the forecast for today? And right above the building, right over there. Oh, yes. Right over there, there's a tree called a white sapote. It has been called the Mexican apple. And the only thing around that eats it is raccoons. Did I do this backwards? Yeah, I totally did. Yeah, that's completely backwards. Look at that. He caught it at 3 screws. Folgers commercials can make me cry. Age lowers your ability to be separated. Now you're turning into more like Richard Simmons, more empathy. I don't want to be empathetic. I've gone my whole life with an inability to express empathy. I've mentioned it before in creative writing. We went through a whole discussion about self-censorship and relating to your audience. That's the rear. That's the front. Okay, yeah, the way this goes together just doesn't seem like it would be the way that this goes together. Like this looks very backwards to me. But here we are. I mean, and what are you gonna do? You just gotta tank it. You gotta deal with it. So I am gonna hashtag deal with it and get choked up by Instagram reels. I'm riddled with empathy. We're supposed to get an atmospheric river up here this weekend. I like the trick that writing a color name but different color pen, like the writing the name red in blue marker. Yeah. It messes with your brain, because your brain sees the color and equates what it sees with the name of that color because you've learned them together. Tolerances are dropping. I can't watch gore, horror, or war movies. Oh. I haven't gotten there yet. But maybe I got there long ago, because I've never been like a schlock horror, like gore for the sake of gore. So no Eli Roth movies. I never really cared for Saw movies after the first one. If you go to a level of gore that's comical, that's fine. But yeah, I don't like suffering, I guess. You're going to do the USB thing with that chassis. Doesn't fit, flip it. Doesn't fit, flip it. Yeah. RPP just emailed me. I may be able to get the Cross JT6 now. Is that the one with the old 50s style body? I can never remember which one is which. I've been tempted to buy the 4. Is it the JT4, JP4, JT4? The one with that 50s looking body. And then I had heard too many people say that it's fraught with problems, which was the only thing that stopped me from getting it. Oh, the axles. Once it was put together and put some power into it, absolutely fine. It rolls perfectly smooth now. It didn't make any sense. On the bench, they felt really clackety and notchety. When I took it apart to put the diff covers on, there was an incredible amount of grease in there. Like you know how you get these little guys, you get the little tubes? It was like they pounded a full tube into each diff housing. Now, I mean, it's basic lithium-based stuff, so it all gets slung off the gears anyway, but it definitely wasn't a grease shortage. I've never watched any horror movies, but I do like war movies, like Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, okay, speaking of which, I mean, you know, if you want the lump to rise up in your throat, the part where they kill the medic, where they kill Giovanni Ribisi, where he gets shot, and he asks for his mother, every time every single time. Like, I have to look away. It's like, it's too much. It's too much. And now I'm going to be thinking about it. Oh, I get to put the servo in. Servo spacer. Where are those? Oh, there they are. Servo spacers. I want to know when you're going to build the Revolt chassis. I'm holding off my own. That is supposed to be, it came from the workbench 50. That is supposed to be 50. 49 is up in the air as to which one it's going to be, because one is going to take, there's two, and one is going to take a lot more work than the other. So what I had projected to be 49 might now be 51, because I kind of want to get to 50, and it's not like I can't have more than one running at a time. I think typically we usually have about 3 running at a time. Does these fit? I'm just fiddling away with something here in the background. I'm supposed to be using spacers, but I don't know how you're supposed to get this. It might not be. So they want you to slide these little spacers onto the ends of the servo. So the servo looks like this, and they want it with the 4mm side on this side like this. But I will be sugared if I can get that into that slot. I'm gonna like break all my fingernails trying to do this. Need you to talk about your time at Scary Farm. It was pretty good this year. The crowd wasn't too bad. Here's how we're gonna do it. So that's 3.5mm. What have we got that's thinner than that? Scary Farm was good. We did all the mazes. This is okay. This DS Power 35 kg, which seems like overkill, is 3.1mm. Will that fit? No, it's narrower than that. What servos? G-Made. What servos is it? Is there a different one? Oh, hold on. There's two more on the tree, and they look bigger. They look slightly bigger. Okay, I don't want to get too far behind. Okay, where do you get the Revolt chassis at? You can buy it. I haven't seen Erwin on here. Is Erwin not on here? I'm assuming you can get them directly from him. I don't know what his storefront looks like. I know Shaker MT bought a couple of them. Yeah, there's no way. The slot looks a little bigger, but that slot is not big enough. Yeah, that is a 2.95mm opening, just under 3mm. We are not fitting a 3.5mm tab into a 2.9mm slot. Do I have one that has metal ears? Wait. Okay. We might be able to get this Eco Power in here. Okay. This is how the universe chose but the little tabs in the servo don't want to fit. I love how there's a universal standard for nothing. Did they scare your children away? So my children kind of operate the same way I do. My one likes to watch, like, they're kind of into, that's the term they use. They're kind of into the, like, body horror, as they call it. So they watch those kinds of movies. But I don't, and I think it's because their fear reflex is partly dead. My wife, God bless her, my wife is a kind and dangerous soul. And what she will do is she genuinely acts scared at like places like Scary Farm, because as a manager of people, she understands that people operate based off of feedback, right? Positive and negative feedback. So she is so much a manager of people, so much a people person, that she knows that those poor souls that have to work at this amusement park, some of the only small joy they get is scaring people. So she will genuinely, she will jump because she's like, they're just doing their jobs, man. And I'm like, I don't think I have that kind of energy. I can't commit to that bit because, I don't know. Blue-eyed devil, I can see in the dark, so they can't really hide in the dark from me. Can you file on the servo tabs to make it fit? What I could do on these, you would have to thin those tabs down, and you would have to thin them down so much that already this thing is not useful for a rock crawler, so we're just going to put it in there. Because of the dependence on a servo saver, I don't want to, if this thing says it needs a 2mm spacer to space the servo out, then we're going to do that. If it turns out that the head height is too tall on this servo and we've got to deal with it, we'll find that out. We'll cross that bridge after we burn it. So yeah, I mean, it was a good time. There's a giant, if you ever find yourself at Scary Farm, there's a giant cloud of 16 and 17-year-olds outside the front door that didn't read the didn't read the big boilerplate of text that you have to be 18 or over or accompanied by an adult to get in. So they just bought their ticket, showed up, and then couldn't get in because they couldn't ID their way in. So they're trying to find kind-hearted old people to let them in. And no, I don't know you, teen. Go away from me, youth. I just did a cancer walk with the wife. We've done it like 3 years now for Susan G. Komen for the breast cancer. We did a walk. And out on the walk course, there's always cheerleaders from like the local schools. I don't know when it happened. I don't know what age I was, but I can tell you this, and this is not me compensating. It's none of that. I don't like cheerleaders. And let me tell you why. Because maybe I can get someone in agreement for this. They are an active reminder of your own mortality. They're so young and so full of energy. And we're there at this walk at like 7:30 on a Sunday morning. They are so energetic that I just can't. They make me feel older and tired than I already am in that moment. And the only thing I have to assuage myself is I just remind myself, this is as young as they'll ever be and as old as they've ever been. And I don't know, I take some perverse comfort in that their inexorable downward slide may not have begun yet, but it is also unavoidable. With the fear attack, the on-off switch is called plug it, unplug it. Yeah, I haven't looked exactly at what the plug on the Python is, but I'm sure we can find the male version of that plug, and then it's any two-prong plug to plug into that. You could just solder a switch on. Like if someone with a Python X really wants a switch and it doesn't have one, you can just solder any single pole, single throw switch on there, and it will work. It's just like how Castle is. The switch is not necessary to the operation of the speed control. Can't you share links? YouTube? Yeah, you can't. The best maze at Not Scary Farm was in the early 2000s, but I put on my comment, and it was the whole Arkham City Asylum. It was pretty chilling. There were a couple good ones. There was ones where they had like the people on the bungees that would like come down and shoot back up. Those were cool. And we went early in the season. We went with a buddy of mine and his wife because they got us premier parking. Hey! And And he was like, you did smart coming early, because if you go way towards the end of October, he goes, all the people that work here are completely over it by that point. They're tired and they just want to go home. And I was like, I get that. I get that. I feel that way. All right, I'm going to try to do this wrong. Oh, that's not what I needed. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do us dirty like that. Okay. Rear. Front. Yes. Yeah, that seems right. Two 12s and two 8s. Not crazy about 12s and 8s. If you haven't elemented yourself before, where on the bottom of a Stealth X, it takes two different length fasteners, and it's really, really easy to get them wrong. And if you get them wrong, you drive a long screw into the output gear inside your gearbox, and then you've got some time set ahead of you. So hopefully I don't have to take this thing apart too many times in the future. Next park is Magic Mountain for Haunted House. The wife really wanted to do Universal because she's never done the whatever they call it at Universal. She's never done that one. And I swear to God, I couldn't make myself do it. I tried. For two people, Halloween Haunt. Is it Halloween Haunt? For two people to go to Halloween Haunt at Universal Studios, and I have been told by people who know that you have to buy the like quick pass, fast pass, whatever you call it. Otherwise, you just stand in line all night. The fast pass is almost necessary at Halloween Haunt. For two people, it's over $500. The four of us went to Scary Farm for, it was under 200. So I mean, yeah, there's a big difference, and $500 for two people. I would rather spend that $500 on something else. Every ride at Universal made me sick. There's a part in the Harry Potter ride. Those who've ridden the Harry Potter ride know it. Like, you're hanging in your dangly feet thing, and it goes around like this, and it has like one of those magic motion screens that goes around like this. I don't get motion sick. I can read in a car. I can play video games in a car. I've read books on a train. I can handle it. I had to close my eyes on that section of that ride because that blurry screen going like this and your body going like this made me want to throw up on the Harry Potter ride at Universal Studios. I've also long said that Universal Studios is the place that you need to go to once. Basically, that's how I view it. And I've been a couple times. But no, without fail, whenever I'm there, I never think, oh man, I can't wait to go back. You know, I could go to Disneyland umpteen times. Oh, what am I doing? I'm over here. That camera's really blowing out. Like, look at that window. You would think that there's some sort of apocalypse outside. Just a little bit of box there. It's doing this thing. It's doing this thing where we need to. Oh man. How many of these do you think I? Oh, I'm showing the wrong camera. How many of these do you think I have? Oh, so many. I can't use lanyards because the click and the clack and the cling and the clang get picked up by the microphones really bad. So if you've ever wondered why you don't see lanyards hanging off of the radios, that's exactly why. I used to have some cool wrist lanyards, and I would put them on my wrist, and then they could just dangle like that. You could hear those too. Okay, sporty versus normal crawlers. In terms of rock crawlers, and I don't know if you're aware, But there's a couple of them in this building. And this thing is not charged, but it will be enough. I just need to center servos. That's the only reason I had to get this thing too. This is specifically a battery for an RC8, but it will work so that I can turn the radio on. Oh, we don't even need to use the R7. We only need a 3-channel. Nice. We can save that for later. What was my other thought that I got halfway through? After sporties. Yeah, I don't really see a need to get another sporty. Like one seems like a sufficient amount. Because like what's it going to bring you having a second one? It's super capable, et cetera, et cetera. We will go channel. I like 4. Oh, we might as well center the steering while we're at it. Getting a Dynamod for this one. Put that in 1. Let's make sure things work. Yeah, 7.7 will keep it running. That's fine. So if it comes down to sporty versus normal, I'm going to take normal because it is definitely more fun to try to tweak and get, like, I would take this guy over a Sportsman. It's way more fun. I would take a Phoenix over a Sportsman for sure. Like, I can't see myself getting a sporty and driving it around in the dark on rocks for 4 hours and having a great time with it. It's fun, but it's not the same, I guess. So, normal for me. I didn't even know that Magic Mountain did haunted houses because Magic Mountain is 100 miles away. So it is not one that we super frequent. I haven't been to Magic Mountain in ages. They hadn't redone Colossus to whatever, Super Colossus or whatever it is now the last time I was there. It's been a long time. I remembered. I won't own a sporty unless I can find it for under $400. I mean, I get it. What did I miss? Svax ask a question. Oh, wait. Also debating motor to put in the F450. I was thinking 2200 kV Outrunner. I've got the parts bin. Seems crazy fast in 2S with the stock 550. Yeah, I would. If it's the Sen F450 we're talking about, I would think Fusion SE 1200 or 1800, depending on what speed you want. Best value radio link receiver. I just you get the R6Fs, the non-gyro ones, and I've seen them on AliExpress for $2 when they're on sale. Regular price, they're well under 20. Usually a 2-pack is like $26, $28, something like that. And I have too many of them because I have to have them around for builds. But I try to do one rig, one radio is the usual goal. Scary Farm is so much more fun. That's what I've been told. I have a great time at Scary Farm. Oh, it's also half the drive. Legoland is pretty cool. I've never been. My kids went, but I've never been. Building my first crawler from parts, not a kit, link, skid plate, and drive shaft is really hard to match. Yes, it is. You are not wrong. I'm late. What did I miss? Nothing. Or everything. I'm running a Tekin RX4 and T8 4038 2000 in my Axial Bomber on 3S. I never thought I would see anybody running a Tekin ESC in a crawler. Oh, Long Beach, Queen Mary has several haunted houses. Yeah, there was no Shacktoberfest this year. They changed, or otherwise we would have gone or would be going. They're changing venue, I guess. And we're going to put it on SWIB. So I need aux ch. So channel 4 There's no door on that to hold the battery in. It's not helping. It's not helping. Otherwise, so I don't know where, I hit the trigger. Growly. Says, oh, channel 5 is SWIB. That's why. I like to null out all the channels that aren't being used. There we go. Well, that's a quiet thing, isn't it? We'll get it right there in the middle. And I always plug everything in channel 4 because I basically treat every radio link receiver as if channel 3 does not exist, because that's where cruise control lives. And how did, hey. I mean, come on. Okay. And then we've got that eco power is absurd. And you'll notice that's the eco power that messed up Miss Scarlett's run. So it's better off here. Did you peek at the Winnebago build yet? I have not. 1.9 versus 2.2 if performance is the only issue. Well, that has become so muddied. That is so muddied now because, I mean, there we go. That's 2.2. That's a 1.9. And then LPs, an LP rupture is not altogether that a 2.2 LP rupture is just slightly bigger than a 1.9 rupture. You can basically get ruptures in all the sizes now because you can also stretch your 1.9 rupture onto a 2.2, which I have, which will make them a little shorter. 2.2 is making a comeback, and I'm glad for it. More options are better. But I would definitely say, despite the fact that the two rigs sitting at the bench, end of the bench, are both on 2.2s, there's definitely more 1.9s in here. There's just more available tires. There's more options. There's more options for wheels. It's cheaper. Yeah. 1.9 is really kind of the sweet spot, I think. 2.2 LPs are great, but I think in the whole fleet we have... We have 2 or 3 rigs that are running full, what I call full-size 2.2s, you know. Tires so big they won't fit on the tire rack. So 1.9. We're gonna ride this out. Well, I like that one. That was a good one. As a trucker, Long Beach gives nightmares. I can absolutely understand that because I have to use the little nav, and the freeway just dead ends into the ocean, and it is getting into and out of Long Beach is never fun. Never. I can't imagine taking a full-size truck down there. As a driver, SoCal is a nightmare. Yeah. How do you set cruise control on that controller? Well, you know what? I've done a number of videos, but we're here right now. Okay, so by default, channel 3 is set to VR. So you're going to go to PMix 01, and you're going to set the mode to on. You're going to set the switch to, I prefer this one, and you're going to set it to lock A, right? So that it's both. And we're going to set the position to up. And now if I push this button, you'll see it go off, on, off, because I'm just turning that off and on. So we'll turn it off so that we don't accidentally make the gearbox go flying across the bench. We'll go to master, channel 3, and we will go to slave throttle. Okay, then we're going to go to this. We're going to set that to 0. We're going to go to this. We're going to set that to 0. And then because this is a hobby wing, and when it's calibrated, it uses reverse throttle calibration, we are going to set this to minus 100. And there we have that set. Okay. So now what it should do is when we're on the knob right here, We can set it to there, and we're, okay, can I get 0? We're at 0, okay? So now if I turn cruise control on, nothing happens. Let me move this to the side and this up here. But as we turn the knob forward, and then if I want to disable it, I hit that button. Hit the button, it's going at that speed, and you can dial it. And I set the other one to 0, that way if you rotate the knob towards you, nothing happens. And that's how you set cruise control. I've done it so many times that I can almost do it without thinking. Any tires that fit Endura 22 silicone. Yeah, they will fit. The 22 silicones will fit right into any of the LPs. So Tusks, Holds, any of the J Concepts, they'll fit in the 22 LP high racks. All of those tires are basically the same size. The tires that it won't fit are like 22 Canyon Trails, because 22 Canyon Trails are very wide. But they will fit in everything else. I saw there's a little bag with a spring in it. And I'm going to have to find that, because I know that bag with the spring is for this incredibly oversized servo saver. There it is. And the battery retention are big batteries. I mean, are big O-rings. A very low profile tire on a 2.2, less sidewall slip, a little more weight in the wheel inherently. Yeah, pretty much. Esky chassis versus Zoku. The one that's in Esky is really nice for the money, but the Zoku is too different. The Zoku, what I call the Z Pro, the Z Pro is a very different animal than Esky. I don't know if they're directly comparable. Set the neutral point before attaching the servo. Okay. Adapter goes on like this. Hey, that actually went on pretty straight. And then, now what? Oh, okay. I need the linkage, which I have. I need 2 more bolts. That demonstration needs to be way slower. There's a whole video. It's called, I just did it. The video is pretty quick. It's like 6 minutes long on how to set cruise control via PMix. I mean, really, if you just had, okay, here we go. All right, I'm over here trying to put the bits of this servo saver together. Let's see if this works. Nope. Oh, come on. Nope. Nope. I was just trying to set it to where, oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay. That's what you need to do. Just set your stuff to look like that. There we go. I wish it was easier to zoom the phone cameras, but you have to do it with a little slider. I'm just glad that I got extra cameras for next to nothing, because they were already here. I'm running the RC Pro Drive Mickey Thompson TTC X2 SS in 2.2, and it's 5.6. Yeah, 5. Those are full size. Well, I mean, a bomber is full size. It's going to run full size. Milwaukee versus Bosch 12 volt. I have no particular preference. I will say, has that been up there? I have no particular preference, but I will say that I've been using Bosch for so long. This is like my 3rd driver. Like, I have literally worn the brushes out, at which point, and one died. You just throw them away. I've had them for years and years and years and years. So I kid you not, I have at least a dozen of these batteries. So they've got me. Like I couldn't switch to another one unless all of the batteries spontaneously died simultaneously, which I feel like the odds of happening are pretty low. So I'm a Bosch guy. I also have, this is my do-it-all drill around the workshop, because if you'll notice, they basically just took the same drill and they put it on an 18-volt battery. This is great if you're not doing like construction. For an around-the-house drill, this is fantastic because it's super light and it gets a decent good amount, even out of a 2-amp 18-volt. It's plenty. Is it the most powerful drill ever? No, it's not even the most powerful drill I own. But when you're up and down a ladder 27 times because you have to fix something, that's a great drill to have in your hand. 3x15. Oh wait, I just picked up a Toolkit SC8 servo checker, a little pricey, but it shows the servo PWM and power uses. Neat! Oh, here comes another sweet gust. How are you getting on with the secure escape combo? Have not had a single problem at all. To the point that one of the upcomings, we'll be doing it again. So nice, I bought it twice. There's another one. You really can't beat it. I mean, it costs roughly the same as a 1200 SE, but you get an outrunner for it. What's not to like? Okay, what cool bodies you got roaming in your shed recently? Okay, I don't know which one it is. I have no speculation as to what build this is going to go on. I was thinking about putting it on the Z Pro, but then I changed my mind. So this is, oh, and I have one over here at the end of the bench that needs painted. And then I have one over there that needs painted. There's like half a dozen bodies that need painted, but okay. This is a J Concepts. This is the J Concepts 0344. I tore the tag off the top, so I don't remember. This is a monster truck body, and I think it is supposed to be a Chevy. I think it's supposed to be a Chevy. But look how low that body is. And then if you ever have problems with wanting a full body, and look at the detail on the bed. So detailed. If you ever have problems with a body, you want a full body, but you don't want to be hamstrung by what they determine the wheelbase to be. So if we go center to center, we're at about 335. So this is one of their monster truck bodies. It is 7 1/4 inches wide in the rear and just under 7 inches wide in the front. It sits crazy low, and they're fairly cheap. So I can't wait to see what build this goes on. Let me move something to the side real quick. So the wheelbase. Oh yeah, right. We have more than one camera, don't we? I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. Is it 3? It's 2. Okay, we'll see if we can get it. Okay, so here's the Z Pro. We get Z Pro in frame-ish. So at a 330 wheelbase, we can do it this way. At a 330 wheelbase, it's pretty much perfect. So if you have something that's a 328, this body will fit on it like perfectly. And I think with the width, it's going to go on something that has like a wider offset wheel. So I'm not too worried about the tire getting into it. Also, because we have no embellishments up on the fender, you can cut the fenders up. It's a body that I'm not going to mind cutting up. So I'm not sure who it's going to go on, but they're going to have about a 330 wheelbase that it goes on. I know that much. And it's J Concepts, so it's not overwhelmingly expensive. I haven't asked, so cruise control is on the V3 only? No, V3? Yes. Yes. V2 is the old one that you can't get anymore, right? Yes. You can do a method of cruise control on those, but you have to set the channel and then you can just activate it and it will be fixed at that percentage. I have a video on that one as well. Been here the whole time, but what are you building? Did anybody say it's still, yeah, it's still the GOM. How's your son feel about recording Wheel on Wednesdays? Does he ever stifle a laugh or comment? Sort of. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing that thing where I mumble to myself. How does your son feel about recording Wheel on Wednesday? Does he ever stifle a laugh or a comment? Yeah, every once in a while. And they have absolutely no recollection of what rig is what. They all just kind of blend together for them, which makes sense. Bet I've watched that video 20 times. Finally got it. It was once easy. I got it through my head. Yeah. Once you do that once, once you set cruise on that once, you can just do it. Hobbywing Fusion Pro versus an Axe version. The Pro gets the advantage. The solitary disadvantage to the Pro is that it is available in a single KV. It's 2300 or nothing. The Axe has the advantage of being available in more. And if you get up into big, heavy weight, like I would not put a Fusion Pro in anything, say, north of 10 pounds. You're gonna want a more powerful motor. That is just a 60 amp controller and a sub 540 motor in a Pro. So the Pro does not work in everything, sadly. But for 99% of cases, let me put it to you this way. In the Canyon fleet, there are 2 in-runners in the whole fleet. Ironsides and Jolly Green are the only censored in-runners in the whole fleet. It's not a thing. The Fusion has completely supplanted it. I would probably rather run brushed. Okay, now I gotta go back up. Problem is, spent months learning the Spectrum radio, now wanting to learn the radio link. My brain is like, wait, what? The radio link is a lot more intuitive than Spectrum ever will be. Like the menus make sense. I'm a Bauer guy myself, Harbor Freight. My version of Bauer is Lowe's Cobalt. Because when they go on sale, you can get Cobalt stuff for less money than you can even get Bauer at Harbor Freight, Hazard Front. And the Lowe's is right down the street. So like all of the, what I call the course tools, I have a whole selection of tools that are just for working on the course, all Cobalts. Hammer drill, regular drill, Sawzall, angle grinder, all of them. We got the whole fleet, and they're so cheap. So cheap. There'll be the like holiday sales come on where they're like, if you buy one bare tool, we'll give you this for free. So I have like 4 of the giant 4 amp hour 24 volt batteries. It's great. It's all I use out there. And because the tools are so cheap, you can leave them out in the rain on accident and not even feel guilty about it. You can 3D print your own housing for that drill. You can use 18650s. That's all that's in there. There are 3 18650s in there. And I had one of these packs stop charging. It would just blink a red light on the charger. So I thought, I bet one of the cells has gone bad. So unfortunately, they're like that tack weld. They're tack welded with foils. So I took it apart. Sure enough, 2 of them were still good. 1 was bad. Threw away the battery pack. Those 2 batteries are in a controller around here somewhere. So I determine when they die, not them. Brush motor much faster forward than reverse. What's up? 1080 Big Black. That would most likely be the speed control. Whatever speed control you're running is almost certainly geared to do more forward than reverse. I set my reverse to either 50% or 75%, depending on the motor. I know ones like the Injora, which we're still waiting for the final release of it. That Injora speed control by default is faster in forward than reverse. Like reverse is limited internally to like 50%, and they still haven't given us the ability. They haven't given us a program card to change it. 3x18 round head wrench bolt. I'm trying not to miss questions. I ordered the last GOM at my Amazon. Hey, they had this one at RPP, so RPP might still have them. And this is the plus. I was waiting specifically for the GOM Plus. Oh, that's clever. That's clever. I gotta give them to that. Amazon reverse is faster. Your radio is calibrated backwards, and your motor is therefore plugged in backwards. So you need to switch this. If it's a Hobbywing controller, the throttle needs to be set to reverse, and then you need to calibrate it as such, and then the rig will probably start rolling backwards, and then just flip the motor wires. Happens all the time. Even I do it all the time. Amazon 35 kg servo versus Injora 35 kg. Amazon blue case all the way. For whatever reason, the Injora 35 kg is much slower in terms of transit speed, and their outputs in terms of torque are almost identical. So you might as well get the faster one. The team with the most points will win generally. Shock and spring question. Running GTS shocks from Jenny's filled with 35 weight and have the spring they shipped with trying to determine proper spring rate in front, rear, softer in front, rear, softer in rear. Generally, you're going to want, if they're not the same rate all the way around, you're generally going to be either one rate down in the front, or if the front seems to be sitting fine, you go one rate up in the rear. Because under weight transfer, all of the weight is going to be on the rear springs. And if all the weight is on the front springs in descending, it doesn't really matter that much. You're going to hit a physical limitation. The axle's going to hit the chassis. The panhard's going to hit the axle. Something's going to happen. The rear is really doing more suspension-wise when climbing than the front. You also get Bluetooth with the axe. That is true. I've used it one time. I just got an Axe R3 4274 to go in an 8-scale rig. They made the sensor cable way smaller. That, you mean shorter or just smaller around? Because smaller around would be great. Yeah, the RC girl put a Fusion Pro in her TRX4 Defender and it struggled. Yeah, that's like 9 pounds. My TRX4 Defender has a 4268 buggy motor in it because... I mean, this is on? Yeah, this is still on. Because it'll fit. So if it'll fit, why not? The shift selector needs another 15. Oh. Yep, there we go again. There we go again. That can't, no, that can't be right. They had it flipped around. No, I got it right. I got it right. They're making me question myself over and over. Oh, we got to do it this way. That's why they have it flipped around. It's weird. It's so weird. I know that you can't hear it there. I think the microphone is canceling it out. But the wind will just stop. And it gets very oddly quiet in here. Very, because I don't have any fans on because all of a sudden it's cold. Like this morning it was 50 degrees. All right, gotta go back up. So yeah, okay. Either a rate up or a rate down. Bluetooth, yes. Can I use low-C mini T springs on GTS shocks? Yes. The only thing that you will have to do is you will have to turn lands. Are they on here? Yes, they're on here. So they won't just drop on. What I do is I put a little lip on the stock cup. I just do it with a lathe. I just turn a little lip on there so that the spring has something to sit on. So these are otherwise unmodified GTS shocks, and that's all that you have to do. Also, the caps that are on element shocks will fit. They will thread onto those, but sometimes you have to add a spacer to the spring pack. Otherwise, all the oil will gooble out. But yeah, you absolutely can. You can run any of the shorty, the 10 millimeter springs. Injora metal portal axles for 150 any good? I don't know. I have never used the Injora portal axles. I would instead just buy the Mias nylon axles for half that money and spend the other $80 somewhere else, $70 somewhere else. What are we building today? Yep, Dom, somebody got it. Oh, Barry Rhodes has got family coming. We will catch him next. Adios, Barry, indeed. My 11-pound TRX4 Sport is just fine with this Fusion Pro, but I'm also running the lowest per pinion gearing. Yeah, Aaron is right. If you're going to run a Fusion Pro in a TRX4, you're 99 times out of 100, you're going to be running that 9-tooth pinion and a 45-tooth spur. Because even at that, on the with the 2-speed, it's going to be spicy. It's going to be real spicy. I want to make sure I get this thing put on right. Yeah, we look okay. No, yes, okay. I so desperately wanted to look through the manual to figure out how this wacky mechanism works. And I think now. Also, they're very clever. This outer cap basically makes it to where you have it torqued to a specific spot. You can't over tighten the servo saver and knock out the servo saver action. I got one spline off. There we go. Hopefully we don't have to use a ton of sub trim on this. Hopefully also the 9i mod will be happy with 7.4 volts. I did the thing. I definitely did the 8.4 volt thing on the Z Pro, which was I just threw it to 8.4 volts and cooked one of those little Injora 2065s. That's how servos tend to die around here. You forget. I've done that. I think I've done that 3 times now. Forgot that the dig and or 2-speed servo was even there, and then just cranked up the BEC voltage and just toasted it. It killed it instantly. Second the Mias portals. G made gum. Which Mias axles are the clone F10s? I don't know if Mias does an F10 clone. I know that there are clone F10s out there. There's a bunch of alloy ones on AliExpress. My Bomber 10.2, 10.1 are all running 8-scale brushless systems from 1500 to 2000. Just received an Injora transfer case. It feels notchy. There might not be any grease in it at all. I just unbagged the UTB gearbox that was sent in. 2, 3. And there's not a speck. Nothing. No oil, no grease, no nothing. So there is beyond a fair chance that the inside of that transfer case has nothing in it. Best value gearbox. Where does value start? Where does value cut off for you? I would say, part of me wants to say fake OD3 because you get 18%. It's very low profile. You can fit it in a lot of things, but many times you can spend about $10 more and get a Stealth X. There's also the Amazon Dig gearbox, one at 60 and the other one at 30, but quality control is all over the place on those. You might have wobbly top shaft. You might have bad bearings. For me, I would say the bargain gearbox of Earth is the Associated Stealth X because you can find them in kit format for usually around $55, between $55 and $60. That is up to 25% underdrive in the box. Nylon outputs, so it's dead quiet. You can fit it with a slipper. You can fit it with an eliminator. There are different brackets to run it motor forward. It's versatile. It's quiet. It's robust. So that's where I'm landing. Stealth X or fake OD3. If space constraints are severe, OD3. Don't feel left out. The wind is howling through this valley too. Yeah, it's blowing like crazy. Can't stay long. Just popped in to say hi, Mr. Saint. Everybody, hey, love you, buddy. I'll watch tomorrow. All right. As I tell people, usually after about 7 a.m. the following day, chat will have caught up. So chat will be on the side, so it'll make a lot more sense. It won't just appear as if I'm just saying extremely random things. Though, I mean, we're populated with our fair share of random things. I found a set of off-brand F10s for $120 on Amazon. Have to see how they are when they come in. Yeah. Injora 10.2 3 gear is $20. Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. You can get plenty of $20 gearboxes. I want a gearbox that actually does something. Like any gearbox that will offer me underdrive, overdrive inside the gearbox, I'm all for it. Mr. Spain, we are 4 pages ahead. Thank you. We are on page 30. Already done that. There's a little track. There is a little track. That thing rides in a track. It just snapped in. Also, I just saw a head. I opened it to the wrong page. So, you see how there's a little Dimbus hanging out there over there on that side? Is that? Thank God that popped off. I'm just going to go ahead and set the endpoints on channel 4 down to like nothing. Because I don't know why I hit that switch, because I guess I want to break stuff. I'm going to go down to about 25%. Just a bunch of beeping. A lot of beeping. 26 is close enough. 4 pages ahead, those pages that are 2 screws per page. You know what? That guy better, you know, that guy's lucky that he's on the other side of the planet. Because we would haze him relentlessly. 210 round heads, 220 flat heads. Okay, I see where they go. This thing's got a tunnel, everybody. This thing's got a tunnel. This thing's got a trans tunnel. And the tunnel holds that it's basically just a slider. Okay. What do we want to put in there? They want us to put grease. They want grease there and on all the slider points and shafts. I feel like that's going to get really get goopy. It's going to get goopy. Okay. We'll treat it like a clock. We'll treat it like the clock that it is, and we'll just use a little bit of liberty. Apparently, their hobby oil and their grandfather clock oil is the same oil, so I feel like we're building a clock. We'll just build it like a clock. I don't want things to fall apart. I need 2 20 flats. I can't believe he gave me the shizness about not being farther. I have half a mind to be offended. The tunnel is cool. The tunnel is cool. The tunnel makes the insane gearbox almost make a little bit of sense. Okay, we don't want that to move. I'm going to have a grand time taking all of the I haven't even cut the fastener bags open. Whatever fastener it asks for, I'm just grabbing them out of my screw bins. It's just faster. These go right here. It's still less insane than putting a rift cage together. It does fill me with some trepidation, though, because, you know what? I'm going all the way down. Now that thing is in a tunnel, and I saw, because we're on the correct page for the steps, we set the adjustment for low speed, high speed, and dig by showing how much shaft is exposed. And look at that, 8 millimeters. Take a page from that book, Axial. And now we get to a point where, you know, I think this guy blows out less. Assemble the connections. What have I done? Assemble the connections carefully. How am I supposed to see that gear? You just made me tunnel it. You just made me put that all together. Like, how? I can kind of see it. Looking down the barrel of a gun. I think it's right there. Because they've also gone with not a hex, but they've just opted to go with just a D shape. I mean, if it was disconnected from power, this would probably be easier. Too late for that. Because of you, I own a Stealth X. Yeah, Stealth X is great. Well, okay. All right. I can't see. Where's my extremely bright flashlight? Okay, this should just blow the camera out completely. Okay, we need D facing down. Very clock-like at this point. Yeah. I feel like I need the pilot tool, like we're putting an actual, like we're trying to rebuild a clutch. Okay. Ooh. Somebody should blur this out. Hey, look at that. And now, 4 M3x12 round heads. Secure that to the side. This thing is wacky. Gmade definitely does their own thing. I've just got the best news of the day from Miata Commuter. The 2.2 Hustlers are still out of stock. I couldn't be happier to hear that. Although, I mean, I kind of want to try them at this point. Like, that's the level to which the insanity has achieved. And I think we're just going to have to use sub-trim to get this centered. And I'm going to see if I can't use PMix02. You know what? It looks like it's pretty centered. Wow. Okay. All right. This is the new fall show for NBC. Imagine the ratings when setting endpoints. Beep, 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 beep. So we need 1 millimeter exposed on either end. It looks right about there. Watch that output if it is at all visible. Is it more visible on 2? Okay. So, pardon me. Susan made it a long way into the hour and a half in today before we had to move her. I don't have anywhere to put her. I don't want to put her on the floor. Okay, we'll just put her over here then. She's got to go somewhere. Okay. Okay. Can we see that output? Yeah. So this would have to be first gear, yes. That's got some gear reduction in it. I'm at about half throttle. And we're not calibrated, but it gives me hope. It gives me hope that at least the 2-speed is doing something. What are the chances the 2.2 Hustler is any better? Like 0. Like, I imagine I have to imagine that it's the same tire, just bigger. And the Hustler is terrible. Let me let's see. Okay, so that is dig. Yeah, that's the way I would like that. Okay, so that's backwards. I do apologize for this. I honestly, I can't tell if it's doing anything. Okay, that's just spinning freely. Okay. Okay, we'll go more. Go like 5% at a time. Okay, it's not going anywhere forward. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Okay, nope. All right. Nope, something ain't right. Something ain't right. All right. You know what we're not going to do? That. I will continue putting this thing together, and I will mess with that later. And as I said, my worry was the way this thing is built. So something is out of alignment in there already. And correcting that out of alignmentness is going to be a freaking nightmare. I'm going to have to completely take the gearbox out, and everything is attached together. Oh my God. I could not get this. It's out now. But it was not moving. So I couldn't get from anything other than medium speed. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. This is going to be a nightmare. Very G-made. Receiver box and mount. 3x18. I'm just trying to think, how am I gonna get that thing to adjust? If we don't have dig, like, what's the point? Maybe you need a longer servo horn. Wow. Did I just get G-mated? 100%. Absolutely. Off the top of my head, all I can think is that, no, it's straight in line. I was going to say, we got a half completed thought there. Not uncommon. I was going to say maybe the gear train height on the servo was putting this off at an angle, but it's not. It's lined up straight. And when I try to slide it by hand, it slides very easily. But when I try to do it under servo power, it doesn't do anything. I just want to make it move back and forth again. Like, that direction looks fine. It sounds horrible all of a sudden. And those are all huge 32-pitch gears in there, so I don't see why it would. Like, that doesn't move. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like somebody threw a handful of bolts into a blender. The whole gearbox is wobbling. I mean, something is very wrong. Something is very wrong. I'm not getting any return. Those shafts both have springs on them. And the spring isn't returning. Okay, it's... Yeah, there's definitely something here that is very, very, very G-made about this. Now I'm going to have to take the whole gearbox apart. This is, I put this entirely on Mr. Spain. This is Spain's fault. Everything was going fine. I second guessed myself, and then I third guessed it again, because if we keep putting any more parts on this, I'm not going to be able to get the transmission out. Yeah, that just doesn't sound healthy at all. Something is definitely binding. That sounds horrible. Horrible. This is how these things work. I've read on a forum post that the return springs on those are really weak. Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. Yeah. It's all going great until it isn't. Yeah. I think the whole problem is that return spring is not returning. Although I can't, like, there's a physical, there's something in there. I can't tell what it is. Something is stopping. There's a physical, something in there is stopping this from rotating correctly. I mean, it's no, like, I can go back and forth, bank, bonk, but to get past it, you have to. But if we turn the spur gear, there it is. There's a absolute resistance right there. We can get through it. You expect to find something rubbing on something else. Something is binding with something else. I need my 2.5. I'm not ruling anything out in terms of, like, what's wrong with the gears. I also just remembered that everything on this vehicle is attached with lock nuts, so anything you remove. So what we do is we move from the front to the back. That's still, like, it's like something came loose inside the gearbox and is now rolling around in there. And I just recalled that you have to take the entire assembly out to get to the bolts that hold the halves together. Okay, now let's see. Still there. Yeah, it feels like there's something physically inside there that ought not to be. So, when I said maybe finishing, I will now say almost certainly not. Because we're going to have to redo most of what got done in the first one because the gearbox felt really smooth right up until it didn't. It's still, it feels like there's a loose screw. Yeah, it feels like there's a loose screw in there. Okay, looks like grease. Okay, I feel a roughness. There it is. There it is. Was that little, well, it's shiny. It's plastic or metal. It's plastic. I think it's just a little bit of flashing, probably off of the assembly, like when it came out of the mold. I don't see anything else. I think it might have actually been able to pound through that. Yeah, that spring is really weak. Let me just slap this back on and see if it feels any different. It still feels like crap. It still has this, it still sticks in the same spot. Yeah, swarf. Yeah, boom, look at that. Like, it's locked. I can't even turn it. So that means there has to be some more of that in the plastic gears somewhere. I think I just found it. This is unfortunate. I'm a big fan of plastic gears and gearboxes. Okay. Perfectly smooth. Yeah, it was flash on one of these pieces. Something had flash on it, and the flash got into the teeth. Now let's see. I found the matching gear. I mean, it's still not by any means the... I still feel a little... I feel like I'm picking a lock. It still feels like there's a little bit of something in there. But I can't really isolate it when going around, so we're going to ship it. All right. How fast can he put the gearbox together, and how many times is he going to mess it up? It's not going to go together on the first try, I feel almost certain. Felt like I got pretty lucky the first time. Flashing, man. Not everybody's not all two moldings are the same. And as was just pointed out, maybe there was something in the grease. Yeah. That is just an open pot of grease. That's definitely not out of the question. It's just unfortunate is all it is. And what was the comment that I just saw? What a ball ache getting into the gearbox. Yeah. Though, this is not me actively defending Gmade, but I will say, getting into a VFD ain't any better. I'll tell you that. I just had to replace a pin in a VFD because a E-clip had fallen off and then let the pin out. It does not appear to have hurt the teeth in any way. I think the clatter, I think we're just hearing this thing, which is now seeming to move. Yeah. It's just not very quiet. It's not a very quiet guy. Did I miss any internal screws? No. I did almost forget that part, though. That would have been very noisy. Spacer. I don't know. I can't remember a lot of things. But for some reason, reinstallation is definitely the reverse of disassembly. That pad does not fit tremendously in that spur gear. I wouldn't mind replacing that. Spring, washer, nut. We're gonna make it work. Yeah, Bill is 100% right. The XF, the Associated XF, is truly a different breed, because you can work on that thing 5 bolts. You take the whole top of the gearbox off. You don't even have to disconnect drive shafts. It is positively luxurious. It's the opposite of this. A regular Stealth X, you gotta take a couple more things out to get all the way in there, but it's not worse. I wouldn't say it's worse. Yeah, this is never going to be the quietest gearbox. That's not a function that this performs. As long as it is robust, we will be fine. And in the grand scheme of things, if a little bit of plastic flashing is the biggest problem you've got, then I'll take it. I do the obsessive thing, which is put a piece on, check it, put a piece on, check it. The spur is definitely looking a little wobblier than it was when I installed it the first time. I think those gears will set themselves in just nice. Run that, like, get a pack through this thing, and it's gonna quiet down quite a bit. No spoilers, but I just saw a mention of an angled skid XF. I might know a guy. We might all know a guy that is working on an angled skid for the XF. I'm just saying. We might know a guy. As a collective, we might know a guy. Good old angled skid XF. Mr. Spain says it sounds weird. That is because you probably don't have as much experience with powder metal gears interfacing with molded nylon gears. And this is... So this cover really... Okay. All right. We're just gonna do an experiment here. So file this in your audio database. Sounds nightmarish. Now you will recall that it said put grease on the pinion and spur, and I said, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Now let's put some grease on the pinion. I have to reach through frame here. Now let's put some grease on the pinion and spur, and let's hope that my little thing of grease is not polluted. You know what? I don't even trust myself. We're gonna, yeah, I want it this way. We're gonna go the big 8 gauge. 10 gauge? Wait till it comes around. Okay. I'm not going to throttle that until we put the cover back on. Otherwise, you and I all together will wear that grease. What's the best value dig transmission? I would have to say, until Axial gives us an LCXU kit, I would have to say that it is the QT Dig Gearbox on Amazon, which is the silver and red one, because I've never really had the issues with the run out and the floppy top shaft and all that on the silver and red ones. They're about $60. And on the one hand, I think $60 is kind of expensive. And then I remind myself that the Hertz dig unit from Vanquish is like 110 just for a dig unit. Surviving stupidity equals experience. That is correct. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah. It definitely changed the tone. It still sounds like a farm tractor. Wow. You can't even tell when it shifts. Low, high, low, high. There's no change in tone at all. You can just see the difference in shaft speed. Oh, very quiet. Well, actually, I don't know. This is uncalibrated, so I was going to say it was very quiet in reverse, but I don't know which direction reverse is. The motor could be spinning the wrong way. This is a fresh out of the box radio, so it's not set up in reverse. So this might actually be forward. That sounds reasonably okay. And that might be reverse. I don't know which. Definitely a little bit better with a little bit of grease on it. Now, let us see if he can remember how to put this thing back together. We're going to put more juice on it. It's a G-Main, not a VFD. That is not wrong. It's not wrong. Now, I'm not going to put the tunnel on just yet because I want to see if I can get this thing. It's really hard to see that D shape through that bearing. I want to see if we can look at the slider. Explains why I couldn't rotate it before. If we can look at the slider with this thing open. Come on. Come on. Okay. Now we'll mount the forward screws. Has anybody, can anybody else think of another gearbox that just mounts with 4 screws from the side? Is how the gearbox mounts. Come on, Dom. Don't fight me. Oh, I'm going to turn it back on now. Because I need to see if that's centered. Okay, so let's hit it with some sub trim. Because that is in the middle. Let's do sub trim on channel 4. Other way. Okay. We're going to go from there. The FureTech 380 is a cool idea, but the secure setup is half the price. I can't argue that. I can't argue that at all. But points back to FureTech Bluetooth and an 8 amp BEC. I don't know if I would run an internal, I don't know if I would run a receiver powered servo like this one with the secure, because the only way to change the BEC voltage is with solder. Yeah, it's that same thing. I don't know. Yeah, it's that return spring on first and second gear. How is there not another screw? So what's happening is the gearbox itself is like shifting, because it looks like the dig is working fine now. Well, is that 8 millimeters? We'll go by 8 millimeters. No, it needs to push it way further than that. It doesn't look like it wants to. Oh, did I just see what is trim versus sub trim? So sub trim is trimming the servo, is basically moving its neutral over. If you use trim, that's taking part of the throw away. So if it's trimmed 10% one way, it can only throw 90% the other way. Sub trim is not supposed to take away from the total amount of travel. Okay, dig appears to be working. And then we're just going to need a lot more. Okay, it just tends to rock. Okay, this is how I got to do it. That's how we're going to do it. Needs more. I mean, I got to give them credit for this. With guys like the Axials, it's really difficult to set this because they hide it under the sweet tunnel. But points back in the plus column for having actual throw. Like, we've got a lot of millimeters to work with. It is frustrating, nevertheless. Nevertheless, I feel like the shifting might get a little better once both sides of the chassis are in and it's not allowing the gearbox to flop around all over the place. But it did tell us to set these endpoints with the chassis 1/8 assembled. Yeah, it's just a huge amount of throw. Almost. Okay. All right, that's close enough to where I'm okay leaving it. That's close enough. We've got it shifting. I've gotten the motor ever so slightly warm. Okay. So we spent by far the longest time on page 33. We were on page 33 for a good hot minute. And now we can go back and put the electronics tray back on. Because my servo throws more to one side than the other because I can't get the horn on completely vertical. So sub trim would help with that versus trim. Yes, absolutely it would. The other option is don't trim it. Change the length of the linkage. Now, this isn't as applicable if you have chassis mounted steering, but if you have servo on axle, just shorten or lengthen the linkage so that your steering is centered with if the horn is off center. And then you can pull it back with endpoint adjustment. That's why most of the rigs around here, you'll see, are a turnbuckle for the steering link. Gotta short that little baby. Because then, a turn or two will get you straight. And I would rather use what I like to call mechanical sub trim than electronic sub trim. Already forgotten how this goes. I feel the deja vu washes over me because I definitely feel like I've done this step before. I was going to get the Amazon 45 kg and set mine to 8.4. Yeah. Yeah, you have to solder on the speed control. There's a thing in the software that says you can adjust it there, but you can't. You have to solder a jumper, and I think the default is the 5 point whatever volts. So I think it's probably for anyone. I mean, unless you love soldering on electronics, I would say the easier way is to just get a direct power servo to use with it. Then it's not going to be a problem. Servo is not included, but it needs servo spacers on it. That's not going to help because, well, the 99 mod is metal. No, those are way bigger. Okay. No spacers it is then. Take the horn off anyway. Servo horn is going to be a problem anyway, because we're chassis mounted steering. No chassis mounted steering is gonna. Yeah, Furatech Python X is looking sweet because that's what you got to look at. So with the Python X, it's more expensive for the speed control. You don't need to get the whole dynamic set with the 380. You can run any outrunner off of it that you feel like. But the big BEC it's a tiny solder job, need magnification too. Yeah, that would prompt me to just run direct power servos with the Secure, receiver powered servos with the Python X. I try to kind of treat the Rhinos the same way. If it's the V40, it gets direct power 100% of the time. And if it's the V80, I tend to try to reset those rigs to have receiver powered servos, except in the case of four-wheel steer, because that's double your fun. So when I run, although I wonder if I could run a direct power for the front or a direct power for the rear and a receiver power for the front, or vice versa. I had not considered that until just right now. So the servo horn goes in the front, and they want the end of the spline 3 to 4 millimeters below the chassis. Yeah, it would need the spacer. That's a shame. That is a shame. These are absolutely not going to fit. Does the stock Traxxas small servos take 7.4 volts? They don't like it. They do not. How do we feel about an in runner on the Python X? I mean, it'll do it, but I don't do in runners. I'm not going to get those to fit. I don't see the need. I'm not an in-runner guy. Not on crawlers, at any rate. Okay. We will repair this as needed, as I have attempted to communicate. Servo stack height is going to be different on every single servo, unless you have 10 servos from the same manufacturer, and even that is not a guarantee that they won't all be different. So this thing wants 3 to 4 millimeters down on the end of the spline, but I'm assuming that is taking into account the horn that comes with the vehicle, and it is seldom, if ever, that we use the horn that came with the vehicle. I feel like the secure one's 4S anyway. On an 1800? I feel like off the 1800 is almost too crispy. If you feel like your system is too slow, if you want to run high KV and 4S, put portals on your 10 Pro. Also, remember, someone just pointed out, depends on KV, stay low. Full sealed waterproof is the main advantage of an in-runner. Outrunners can run underwater. There are boat outrunners that are in the water when they're operating. What any in-runner and outrunner and every other motor doesn't like is the stuff that's not water. That's what kills them. You can run, I mean, I've been around long enough that I can remember that the break-in procedure for electronics, for brush motors, is you ran a brush motor in a glass of water to seat the brushes. You ran it underwater. They can run underwater just fine. They just don't like all of the stuff that's not water. Those tend to bring a short and quick end to electronics, as one would anticipate. 3x15 flathead wrench bolts. We got to get the receiver shoved in here. Probably pull that there. Like that. Is there going to be enough room? I do love the inclusion of a receiver box. I well and truly do. But it would be nice if it was big enough. Traxxas is okay. Element is still doing the best in terms of giving you just a giant cube. I feel like they operate from the assumption that we don't have a lot of stuff to plug into these things. They want the, well, I don't have to worry about the cover too much. We don't have a speed control to stick down on the top of it. I don't even know, is that deep enough? I don't even know if this is deep enough to fit the plugs, much less all the wires. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Ha ha! Gotta go, guys, gals. Meeting AT&T to install a 300 by 300 megabyte internet circuit. I don't know what that is. Gear down is mechanical advantage, volt up is torque advantage. If an ESC is 4S capable, then I'm damn well going to run 4S. I only run 4S on a couple rigs here. I'm 3S, mostly because of the ease of it. You know, if everything is 3S, might as well just make everything 3S. What does that part look like? It wants that. Got it. Not lock nuts. 3x10s. We're going to get to like, I have this sneaking suspicion. We're going to get to like 70%. There are plenty of people, I have talked to people who won't even consider not running 4S. It's 4S or nothing. I am, well, as you well know, I'm a Fusion guy, So there's definitely more 3S here than there is 4S here. I still don't know how I feel about being forced to use nuts and lock nuts everywhere. I think for longevity, it's almost certainly better. There's a tree rubbing against the building in the wind, and it's making like a... It's making like a ghostly groaning noise. It's going... I don't really care how fast it goes as long as it can still go slow. Yeah, same. Anything without a 2-speed, anything with a single-speed gearbox, I'm gearing it to go wide open just above walking speed. How many 2S rigs do you have? 0! Unless we're counting go fasts. If we're counting go fasts, I have 2. That's it. This is very confusing. US is a scam so they can put a cheaper drivetrain and you won't break parts. You know, part of me is like, there's definitely something to that. But at the same time, I would be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued by the BL2S, the 2S brushless stuff that Traxxas is peddling now. Is that front 3 all 18s? But there's some 20s interspersed in as well. Okay. That step of the instructions was the G-matiest G-mating that we've been done today. If they just showed it as a like direct head-on and not a 3/4 perspective, the 3/4 perspective is almost mind-boggling. And I am not equipped. It's already too late in the day for me to understand what's being said. Good thing. Man, I might have to. So this is the other motor mount. Okay. Okay, 20s go right. 25. So the bottoms, so the 2 bottoms are 20. Yeah. It's too late in the day. Which pillow balls if using E-Revo rod ends? I want to say that Mias axles are 7.5s. But when I say it, I'm starting to question it. I will have to grab a... No, let me put these 2 screws in. I'll forget. Let me... Come on. Come on. Oh my God, this is not going well. Oh, I had to put full force on that. Which is why I think that the shifting before was very chunky. Oh, this thing just got really heavy. Okay, I need to put these 10s in as well. Then don't let me forget to grab a twin, so that I can look at what hollow balls. But if I don't get these screws in, I'm going to forget where we are and what we're doing. Yeah, the Vanquish complex of our sintered gears are just fine, but they run it on a brush system. As soon as I went brushless, boom, went to sintered diffs. I've heard that many times because off the first upgrade that people will make on any of the Vanquish RTRs particularly is to put something like a Fusion Pro in it, and the center gears fairly rapidly leave the chat. Micrometer, caliper. Just need to flip this guy up. Yeah, 7.5s. 7.5s at the axle. Now, they are nylon. So if all you have are 5.7 by 7s, you can get away with it. You just tighten them down and they'll smooch together. Now, the battery tray is a question mark here, because they want us to use, this is the battery retention method. Big, boing, boing, boing. Big O-rings. Low side, high side, low side. And I have never had great fortune with O-ring battery retainers lasting any appreciable amount of time. I can't find anything. I can't find anything. We had people run two trucks side by side and they couldn't tell the difference between an SE and brushed. If someone actually said that, I want to meet that person, because what was the movie? It's got, and I you're gonna have to forgive me. I can't remember if he's Keith David or David Keith. I want to believe he's David Keith. And he says, his line is something along the lines of, you know what? I like you, white boy. You talk a lot of shit. Yeah, anybody who says that they can't tell the difference between an SE and a brushed motor is, pardon? Ami français. In French, how do you say full of? Full of merde. If you can't tell the difference between an SE and brushed, you're lying. You could blind test me. If there's a dude that can tell you what part of France a wine came from and what year it was made in, I think I can tell the difference between a brushed motor and an FOC-controlled brushless motor. And anybody who can't, I don't know how many people you would have to pull. I could put two controllers in my kid's hand who has never driven a rock crawler and just ask them the simple question, can you tell the difference between these? And they'd be like, yeah, that one's stronger. Boom. I mean, I don't want to say that companies are actively lying to you, but that is actively lying. I understand the cost argument for sintered gears, but they suck for people in the hobby. I don't understand it, because China can sell me this machined underdrive gear pair for $12, and that's end user after shipping and after all of the stuff. So this probably costs the manufacturer, generally the way things mark up, between $2 and $3 is what this costs total. So that means for every Vanquish $500 RTR, they're buying something that costs less than $2 to $3. So they're trying to increase their margin by what? $2? $3? It's gouging at this point, is what it is. It kills me that Vanquish rants are becoming more frequent and more vehement than Red Cat rants. Look at that. What are we doing? What are we doing? It also doesn't appear that there's anything. Oh my goodness gracious. What? Why? Oh no. All right. Okay, get ready to climb aboard. I don't understand the cost argument for sintered gears at all. Because while I operated in a small scale, and by operating in a small scale, I didn't have the economy of scale. So I couldn't say, oh, well, I'm saving money because I'm buying 10,000 of these. I know where the nickels and dimes go. And at this point, I feel like most of them are just taking advantage of people. You hate to say it, you hate to see it, but they're taking advantage of people. Center gears are made so you buy aftermarket parts. I can't argue that either. But there's an argument that we shouldn't need to upgrade something right out of the box. Which is why in the era of kits always had the upgraded parts. They had the better shocks, they had the nicer gears, they had the nicer hardware, they had all that stuff. But now, Vanquish is selling kits that are just unassembled RTRs. So what's the advantage? 3x15s. Where do I want this? This is interesting. Okay, that's going to pinch it, so we're going to have to go above or around the outside. Gonna have to Buffalo Gal this. There's really nowhere to route that that shift wire comfortably. Wish I saw this before I got a Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. Which Phoenix did you get? Because the Phoenix kit still has machine gears. The RTRs do not. This is stupid. This is super stupid. I can't even get it to line up. This is I feel like I'm in one of those, I'm in a carnival game where I'm trying to get a ring onto a bottle that's floating in a pond. There we go. Good battery tray placement. I'll give them that. And then they're like, put all the links on and then move the thing around your bench for like 2 hours. Those links won't get in the way. That's why I bought AMK spools for my VRD. Thank God bless AMK. Of the gears that are out there, if AMK is an actual thing and they actually make things, excellent. If not, they are still doing a quality gear. Like you barely even need you barely even need to shim them. Rarely. At most, I'm generally putting one shim in there. Hey, Team Revolt. Irwin is here. I think we need to pitch in to buy Mr. Spain a Fusion SE. He does need to know. My gut said get the kit. My wallet said get the RTR. Oh, I wish I had been there for you. No transmission is with the VRD carbon, but those haven't broke on mine, so I don't know. That's because the transmission sees way, way, way smaller loads than what the axles see. The transmission doesn't even know the tires are there. Is there any reason to purchase Vanquish products with the increasing quality of brands like Injora and Mias? I'm pretty much I'm mostly done with Vanquish. I can't imagine them righting the ship and turning the ship to face back on a different course. The course they're headed down now is not one that I really want to follow them on. And just wait until their new Ripper comes out and people are going gaga over it. But at what cost? Is the de-vanquishification of Vanquish the cost we need to pay so that they can make another Ripper? Doesn't seem like a fair trade to me. Flat or button? We are building the bear. I think Rice Krispie just stated it more succinctly than perhaps I would have. Though I have related the same thing in perhaps a different fashion. Good Vanquish, mechanically speaking, is anything Phoenix or the VRD Carbon. Everything else needs to have $110 added to it at a minimum. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And that is beyond the electronics. That is like, thank God for AMK. Because otherwise we're going to get stuck with Vanquish gears, which are not cheap. $80 worth of Vanquish gears, just to get it to where your thing has some kind of survivability. 2.5 by... What? What? Very confusing. If I say what a lot, you know that I've lost the plot. Have you ever listened to a brand named Dream Theater? I am familiar, yes. Dream Theater falls into an in-between space for me. I don't know. Dream Theater. What's the other one that's on the top of my? It's at the tip of my tongue right now. Damn it. Dream Theater. It's going to come to me. It's another kind of prog rocky type of thing where, I don't know, it doesn't speak to me. I don't know. .5 by 12 round head. Vanquish could add a motto, just don't go brushless. Yeah, everything will last longer. Definitely, and not just don't go brushless. Whatever you do, don't put an outrunner in it or anything FOC. You should still be buying extremely overpriced brushed setups, I guess. You got me listening to the Horizon station on Pandora. Dude, that song, man. What an absolute jam. It's okay. Now, I feel like at this point, just now, when I put those two screws in, it has started to look like something. Yeah, Dream Theater is like prog metal, yeah. Don't start on shocks. Come on now. We all know making a quality shock is about as difficult as brain surgery and rocket science. Or alternately, rocket surgery. It's definitely up there with rocket surgery. Oh, man, the logo hasn't been on color switch this whole time? You want smooth fade? Try fade? No, I don't like fade. Strobe? Or I think I do flash. Yeah, because when you do strobe, it only does RGB. It goes through like more, and now it does. There we go, yellow, purple. It goes through more colors on flash. How did no one notice? How did I not notice? We get to skip like 4 pages because it wanted us to build the universals, but we got Gompletion, so it just wants us to bolt together these guys. The problem I see with putting these guys on is they're immediately going to fall apart. But I'm too stupid to resist, so I'm going to do it anyway. Because I already have the correct driver installed. Let's build our links with toothpicks, and then we'll sell you the upgrade to replace all the links that cause problems. Oh. Vanquish lasts forever when it's left on the shelf. That should be one of their mottos. I wanted to be known that I didn't start the anti-Vanquish today. That was brought about by the people. The people were going anti-Vanquish before me. You need to have Leadfoot Customs send you some of his 3D printed inserts for a review. Will you not be disappointed? This guy 10-second songs covers NSYNC Sync, Bye 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 and Slipknot. Oh, dude, what's it? So if y'all know Mac Glocky, man, Mac Glocky is one of my favorite things. Another of my favorite things. This is a slightly deeper cut. The guy who, I don't know if he's using AI, I don't know what technology he's using, but he does yacht rock versions of everything. Oh my goodness. Yacht rock 9 Inch Nails and yacht rock System of a Down. Transcendent. Amazing. Up there with the There I Ruined It guy, who I know he's trying to ruin things, but he just keeps making things better. Ugh. 3x20, 3x30, 3x18. Why is one side a 20 and one side an 18? Oh. You better hold on tight, everybody. You're getting G-mated now. Yeah. We were on the same page with There I Ruined It. Okay. Let us see. Oh, also, G-made huge on the D-shapes. Oh, look how happy he is. Oh. So they've made a D-shaped drive shaft. So I guess it's sort of impossible to get your drive shaft out of phase, as it literally only fits together one way. Is that a bug? Or is that a feature? Now I have to try to look at this upside down, because 18 on that side, 20 on this side. This side, oh! Because it has to go through the little clip that holds the panhard mount. That's why one side is an 18 and one side is a 20. Yacht Rock is so good. This side is not going to be fun to get together. Maybe if I can get it started. They always make it fit really, really tight. And then it threads all the way through, and then you have to put a lock nut on it. Also, the scale of this thing should be starting to slowly appear now. Anytime you're sandwiching 4 parts together, you know it's going to go great. There we go. I'm going to play Rocket League with the live stream in the background. If you need me, you know how to summon me. Just say free 5.75 tires. He already got his big ruptures. How many rigs has he got that run big tires playing Rocket League like a youth? The youths playing Rocket League. How very European. That's like European and American colliding, because he's playing soccer with cars. And no, I won't call it football. We have hand egg over here. We call that football. Oh, this is tight. Very, very tight. Got it. I get the yacht rock thing, but nothing beats a good cut of Prodigy. You know, it's been 5 years. Keith Flint, 5 years. Can you believe that? 2019. It just popped up in my thing. My YouTube algorithm was feeding me more Prodigy. And it was like remembering Keith Flint, 5 years. And I was like, dang. I probably should have put that upper link on before I did this, because now this is going to be this is going to turn into a thing. Is DKM on here? Haven't seen them. Y'all talking foreign language here. Dude, the Prodigy's great. One of the best bands. I mean, if you want to talk about like what an impact an artist or a group had on music as a whole, there are genres today that wouldn't exist if bands like the Prodigy hadn't been. I got plenty of 30s. I should have put this. Oh, there's no shocks on it. It doesn't matter. I was going to say I should have put this in first, but it's not going to matter. It's odd that they have me use a 30 from the other side rather than. I'm basically amazed they're not having me put another lock nut on this thing. They love lock nuts. There we go. I started playing Fallout 76 on Steam. I could spend all day just building in my camp. Yeah. I put some hours into it. Not as many hours as I had put into other Fallout games, but I put some hours into it. Okay, build a shock, make 4, shock mount bushing, bushing spacer. Okay, I think there's a little bag here with 2 alloy spacers in it because I think for some reason there's 2 alloy shock spacers included with Gompletion. Just 2. Maybe there's no spacers in the back, and that's why. Are we going to have enough assembled for Flex Friday? Flex Friday, bro! 18 lowers with lock nuts. 20 uppers with no lock nuts. Very Traxxas feeling because we've got so many 20s. Traxxas, man, they love M3x20. We might indeed have enough. Like we might have gotten to a point here. Like I feel like we're gonna get. I mean, I got time, man. I feel like I'm ahead of the game now. We're gonna get shocks under this. We're gonna do it. I think it's those. I'm just guessing at this point on what some of the bushings are. Looking at course expansion ideas. Don't want to mention any names, but guess who might be coming to AZ? Oh. Keep an eye on the mailbox because Revolt inserts are on the way. Sweet. Long versus wild wheelbase. Someone had just asked about this on the Discord. And basically my statement on that is width is great. That was, y'all had to have heard that. It sounded like a space rifle. Width is great until you need to do something like go between gates. If you don't have gates that you need to fit between, go as wide as you can. Go as wide as you want. That's honestly how I feel about it. Wheelbase length is good for everything except breakover and turning radius. So what you're going to want to do, and width also, lights just flickered. When you get to a certain width, it's going to affect your turning radius as well. So, as with everything else in life, it's all a compromise. You're going to get to a point of stability where you basically have too much, and then you know you've gone too wide. There have been a couple of rigs where we've reined it back in because they were starting to get too wide. There is definitely instances where you can get too long because it's going to kill your breakover at a certain point. But there is no golden ratio, really, as far as I'm concerned. I try to shoot for, I like a 330 wheelbase. And with that 330 wheelbase, I try to shoot for about 250 wide. Between 240 and 260, I would say 250 tends to be about where we land oft. But there is no, don't let anybody tell you that there's a perfect number, because I don't believe that there is. Did you forget about the wave on Wheeling Wednesday? When we got back in the house, right? We usually get back in the house right about the time when we feed our cats and when we eat lunch. And we got in the house and we're feeding the cats, and the kid turns to me and goes, "I forgot the wave thing again." And I go, yeah, you did. I know. Dang it. We generally remember we're going to have them wave like at the beginning. That way we can try to remember. Width on steep climbs can cause you to turn out of the climb if one rear tire has more traction than the other. CG seems to make a bigger difference on side hill. Your CG is effectively going to be lower if you're wider, because that moment that makes you want to flip is harder to get to. I mean, not real scientifically, but the feel, the perceived behavior is going to be that of lower CG with width. And I've noticed this by sending rigs out there for testing that are not set up correctly, or they don't have the right set of wheels on them, and they're way overly wide. And there is definitely a point of diminishing returns where performance is hampered. Ooh, the tip of that screw is hot! Where performance is hampered by being overly wide. Is Yacht Rock the new Muzak for Gen X? Only if it's done, like, I guess what you would call ironically. That wind is absolutely howling out there. I'm going to have to clean all this wiring up, but luckily, it's kind of something I'm used to. That pinion angle is questionable. And we have a big molded upper link, so there's not a lot you can do about that pinion angle. Oh, this is the absolute worst. These molded pieces do not want to accept these rod ends because the opening is about 0.2 millimeters smaller than the width of the ball. These are the struggles. This is the stuff that gets built in the background when doing any other build, because I don't want people to just sit and watch me struggle. Yeah, that pinion angle is not great. Did you ever finish the... it's sitting right over in Visitor Garage with all of the other forgotten things. Visitor Garage is where things go to be forgotten. And then we'll remember them at a later date. Okay, it might be a little bit of the fact that there's no panhard that is causing this thing to rotate out weirdly, but I don't know how much of that is actually contributing, because that pinion angle, I'm not super pleased with that pinion angle. And that is a compromise, because you were going to rotate that thing so that you can get some caster in the front axle, so you can actually get some steering. I don't reckon that this thing is going to have the most impressive wow. Yeah, it'll straighten out a little bit with the panhard bar. This thing is not going to have a staggering steer angle, at least not on this knuckle. And I don't know how far these I don't know how far these CVDs are actually going to be able to turn. This might be a we have what we have. This seems like an axle for speed. And hey, if Gmade has succeeded in making something with live axles that can reliably go fast, then they'll have done something that a lot of companies have failed to do. Okay, so no panhard bar yet? No? Okay. Okay, all right. Did I miss a step? Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's on me. That's on me. I skipped right by that step. I was like, when did we attach the rear axle? Like 2 pages ago. I just didn't do it. Glad I did the front end first, though, because the rear end's always easy. Hi-yo! All right. 18s. I'm just looking forward to sorting all those hardware bags that I haven't cut open yet. Is 3 to 5 kg optimal recall weight, or is lighter always better? Last Creations will always say that lighter is always better, and I've begun to disagree. Because lighter is better to a point of diminishing returns, just like adding weight is good to a point of diminishing returns. If lighter was always better, I don't think so many rigs would be falling into very specific weights. And I have yet to see a singular instance where something was exceptional in its performance purely because of what it weighs. Rainbird was the only vehicle here that we were actively trying to get something to be lightweight, and it was genuinely a pain in the ass, and it is very expensive, because when you're trimming weight and then replacing the weight in the place where you want it to be, you end up having to buy a lot of parts multiple times until eventually you have so much of it left over that you can build another rig out of all the parts you took off. So there are some rigs that are suited to be built lightweight. A lot of rigs are not suited to be built lightweight. A lot of rigs can be incidentally lightweight. The coupe, the guy that you saw, what's this camera aiming at? That guy weighs 2,100 grams. I made no effort to make him weigh 2,100 grams. He just does that. By Canyon standards, 2,100 grams. Actually, that's a pretty good angle. By Canyon standards, 2,100 grams is very light. And to some people, they would not consider that to be light at all. I do, though. I have to say, Gmade is Gmading me here. Fantastic angle on the rear pinion. Also, I need to point out, Gmade has put more triangulation into a trailing arm than I think I've seen anybody put in. Like, there's actual triangulation in this. The ones on a Rift are basically just in a straight line. Any amount of attitude on these makes the parts not want to go together. My gracious. Make sure I didn't fall too far. The split insert foam combo blew my mind on the Moza tires. Okay, lightweight. Is it me or are you responding to comments I'm not seeing in the chat for some reason? If you're not seeing them, I don't know why. He's got the hemos out. You know it's getting serious. I got the ham hands. I can't hold on to them nuts. Thanks again to all Lorenzo's learning a lot. Good on you, Antos. Is this going to be another giveaway, or is this a permanent resident? Oh, this thing lives here. Apologies, I'm behind. Found in the land, yes. It all depends on the location your crawler crawls. True. My cousin has a folk cover of Hey Ya by Outkast. I remember that. That diff cover looks like a pop top. All right. Now what do we need? Okay, I gotta leaf forward a couple more pages. Yeah, I had to go back like 5 pages. Yeah, there's no spacer in the rear. That's why they put no spacer in the rear. Okay, that makes sense. Question potentially answered. Grab some 18s. My watch doesn't think I've stood up because I haven't sat down in 3 hours. So obviously, yeah, about 3 hours. So obviously I need to stand. I have almost depleted my entire drawer of M3 by 18s. So when I cut open those GOM bags, get all the 18s out, I can fill those back in. Filter is probably set to top chat. Oh, yeah. Mine is set to top chat, but I think because like I'm like the host or whatever, I see everything. I see all. Because I've tried clicking top chat, all chat, and mine doesn't change. I don't know how YouTube determines the difference between top chat and regular chat. Here's one for you that you'd never get the insight onto unless you're doing a YouTube thing. So YouTube is now using some sort of AI trickery. And in the comments, when I'm looking at the comments screen, there are what have to be AI generated responses to where I could just auto click on these responses. And some of them are pretty long, like 2 sentences, but they are very AI generated sounding in that most of them don't make a lot of sense. So I just look at it and I'm like, would someone actually say that? It seems like something that a robot would say. Front hole or back hole? Front. We're about to get droopy. Oh no, there's a stool. Spider. It's my second one. I had a Cobalt. I had one before that, but it was falling apart. So it got replaced by the Spider one, which was on sale. I would not have paid full price. It seems ridiculous. This thing, in just one short moment here, is going to... That branch, rub it on the building. This thing's going to be able to hold itself up here momentarily. It won't have most of the things necessary to make it operate, but it'll be able to stand up. I've lost the shock bushing. Dang it. It's plastic. Oh, wait. Hold on. Nope, those are also plastic. Does anybody see what I did with the fourth and last aluminum shock bushing? Nope. That is the aluminum one. Today I learned I'm a robot. Have you seen my video on the split inserts for the Moza? I have not. I saw it. It popped up on my thing just before I came out here. The axles look just like my GA44P on the Spider, but wider. Well, they are just the GA60 is just a bigger GA44, you know, the non-portal version. Running out of little lock nuts too. I might have run out of lock nuts. Nope, 2 left, which I need 2. So. I never really did look to see what the wheelbase is on this thing. I have to tell Mr. Daniels that I'm pretty thankful that Charles quote-unquote stole the Spider out from under you, because I was not looking forward to trying to ship that thing halfway around the world. It would have been mind-numbingly expensive to ship that. I mean, people ask me about shipping tires to the UK, and it's like, the estimate is like $22 to ship a set of tires that I have doubts as to whether or not the set of tires is worth $22. Almost forgot to put the pin in there. I'm German by ancestry. We are genetically incapable of humor. The Germans. Yeah, this is going to be a growly thing. This is not going to be a quiet thing by any measure. I don't remember, what did the hexes look like? Pins and set screws. Let's put the other hexes on. Well, they haven't told us to do it yet. That's building the steer link and the drag link. Is this thing ever going to tell me to put the rear wheel hexes on? I've just leafed through like 8 pages. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there's no way. There's no possible way. Regardless of how you feel about it, without regards to your feelings, you cannot build a GOM in 2 installments. We're barely halfway through this manual. The cage is a lot. It tells me to put the rear wheel hexes on in step 90. We just completed step 68. Napped all day, but still passed out the moment the show started. Did you say what the sound of the sky falling in Georgia? 25-mile-an-hour winds is the sound of the sky falling. So it's kind of the sky falling. And then it will just stop, like now. It's completely stopped. And there's no wind. And it gets oddly quiet. And then the wind will come up again. And there's a huge pine tree that towers up directly above the building that I'm standing in right now. And it drops all of its old dead pine cones on the roof. So that's some of the banging that you hear on the roof. And the rest of the banging is the aforementioned white sapote tree dropping its fruits. The fruits uneaten by raccoons are being dropped on the roof as well. Like right now, it's just... I'm used to having filler noise because... Okay, that's weird. That's weird. Okay, I feel like I'm getting G-mated again. The one axle is definitely seated further in than the other. This one's got about 2 or 3 millimeters showing of axle outside, and this one has about 4 or 5, which might be the way it's seated into the diff. I can't get the diffs wrong because they only fit one way, so that's not it. Did I just read, would you recommend this kit for a first-time new to RC crawler builder? No. No. Don't try a GOM first time out. As a matter of fact, I think I would go further to say, don't try a G-Made first time out. G-Made exists in a space somewhere, like, in my perception, somewhere halfway between Tamiya land and normal land. My first recommend, if you're going to build a kit and you've never built a kit before, geez, all the element kits are gone. Well, no, Builder's Kit 3 is back. Builder's Kit 3 is where I would go. I would have said TRX4 Sport Kit, but for a moment, for just a short moment, I forgot that the TRX4 Sport Kit is no more. It is. I was just having a talk with the Stinky J on here a short time ago about how the TRX4, because he's a proponent of RTRs. He talks about how he wouldn't have gotten into the hobby at all if it had not been for the availability of RTRs. And I have to try to keep that in part of my memory, if not the forefront of my memory, that there are people who are, let us say, daunted by the prospect of having to build something from scratch. And I need to take that more into consideration. So in terms of RTRs, if somebody were to say, I want to buy a rock crawler, and the one qualification is that it has to be RTR out of the box, the only thing I can recommend today is a TRX4 Sport. It hasn't gotten insane in terms of pricing. They've discontinued and then brought it back at $329. You don't urgently have to replace any of the electronics. The TQI radio is not great, but it's also not a G4P. It's not terrible. The Titan 21 turn, I think is what it is absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. And the other offerings that we have nowadays for RTRs are getting worse and worse and worse. Element RTRs aren't too bad. I still consider them overpriced, but things like the Ecto aren't terrible. You can beat on an Ecto. Ask Mr. J himself. You can beat on an Ecto. Basecamp kit is not a bad one. It's not a bad one. There are so few kits. Phoenix Portal Kit is a great kit, but I don't think I could recommend it, particularly to a first-time buyer/builder, because BFD Twin. BFD Twin is really something. It is definitely closer to that Tamiya end of the spectrum, getting that thing put together. And it is infuriatingly built compared to how other 3-gear-based gearboxes are built. Yeah, and Enduro SE, as long as you know what you're getting into. I mean, if we have them sitting down on the bench side by side, and we have a bone stock Enduro SE, and we have a bone stock TRX4 Sport, there's definitely more value in the TRX4 Sport, unquestionably. Portal axles, a gearbox that can be converted to a 2-speed, good shocks, good tires, a decent body, very robust, difficult to break the parts. Yeah, the TRX4, I mean, there's a reason, they can discontinue and then re-release the Sport, selling it for $50 less than they used to, because it's been unchanged since, what, 2016, 2017? Like, to Traxxas, they're like, oh, we're going to make a big change, which is, we're going to, damn it, Traxxas, you get me. We're going to make a clipless body mount system, and that's the end of the changes. Yes, as Driver 8 pointed out, buy a TRX4, but don't buy anything else from Traxxas. Don't buy the batteries. Don't buy the computer upgrade for the radio. Don't buy any of that stuff. The TRX4 is the beginning and the end of what to buy in the crawler framework. And nowadays, other than some curiosity about like ones like the Mud Boss, because who doesn't love Dirt Oval, I don't actively see myself seeking out anything particularly Traxxas, because Arrma exists now. And Traxxas was your source for all things bashery for all those years, and then Arrma came along and out Traxxas to Traxxas. The only thing Arrma has going against it is Spectrum Electronics, and luckily you can still get a fair number of the models from Arrma as, what do they call them, bind-and drives or whatever? It's basically, it's not a kit, it's built, but it doesn't have electronics in it. That's fine. It's fine. They're not sticking you with electronics that you don't want or need. So, while it might not be a full kit, it's not offensive. We'll get the front end together at the very least. Here's the panhard. Steering link takes the two little shorties. Those are tiny little shorties. Now I'm starting to pay the price of not opening a lot of bags, because now finding the set screws to assemble the front end is starting to become difficult. My daughter said I have to get her the pink SCX24 base camp. Oh, they got you. They got you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a pink Ascent 18 there, 1.5 to 2 times as capable compared to an SCX24. Yeah, I would believe that, just because of the bigger scale, you know. And don't forget, Mr. 79, as has been said too many times here and elsewhere, a crawler is not a body. If she just wants something pink, you can buy and or build her anything you want and put a pink body on it. Which is what I would do. Because conflating the crawler with the body is how so many people end up with honchos, which is a terrible vehicle underneath. But it is a cool looking body. To the point where they keep making different versions of the honcho. So this, I was wondering whether this was the whole time. That's the panhard. So that's promising, because panhard and drag length we want to be the same length. Ooh, where's that 25 horn? Let's see if the 25 horn is just a regular 1-inch-ish horn. It is, and it's on the back hole. So because we needed a spacer up, okay, we need the, where's that horn that it came with? That one. All right, we might be able to get away with just this. This should be centered. I shouldn't have knocked that out of whack. At any rate, that'll be close enough. That's trimmable. That's trimmable. Yeah, paint is the answer. The base camp looks very close to a Tacoma, and that's really more what she's looking for. All right. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like all the Toyota licensing went to a certain company, but their bodies do appear to be getting less crappy. So I don't think I can vocally campaign too heavily against our good buddies Proline. It is still hit and miss with their bodies, though. I wouldn't try to say that it wasn't, because I have had more Proline body failures than I've had failures from any other manufacturer. And that includes J Concepts with their woefully thin. Sometimes they're pulling a body, and they are pulling that body thin. Like real thin. Should have gathered up more screws. 15 flathead and a nylock. We're into the lack of bags now, for sure. I'm not finding the fasteners I need to put these pieces on. There are 2 still sealed bags over there behind me. That's not a flathead. I didn't put that on. No, it only fit the one way. I didn't put it on backwards. Flathead wrench bolt. But it's not. No, it's a button head. So something changed in the kit versus they didn't reprint the manual. I got axialed right here. But it's $99. It's pink. It looks like a Tacoma, and she's not that serious. You just sold me on getting your daughter an SCX24. Were I in the same position, I think I would do that. Yeah. $100. It's already pink. You look at it in terms of, you know, the full cost benefit analysis. How much time do I have to spend? Well, you just order it, and then you give it to her. You open the box and you give it to her. Yeah, I'm on board. I'm now on board with the pink SCX24. Just keep in mind that could be the dose of the drug that gets her hooked on it, and then you're gonna have to find. Then you're gonna have to figure out how to do it in a bigger scale. You're gonna end up there is definitely that chance that you're gonna end up building a 10th scale Tacoma that is also pink, and now needs to match the other Tacoma, which is not the worst thing to happen. Come on. It's kind of what we all hope for, isn't it? To spread the disease to somebody else. More toy cars for more people. And no lack of upgrades for the SCX24, that's for sure. It is just not my thing. I mean, I might be working on the defined categorical opposite of an SCX24 right here. I'm fully cognizant of the absolute luxury of having a very deep parts bin, because it is making, I don't have to dig through screws to find the length of the screw that I need. I just grab the nearest one. Wind's kicking up again. I just want it to sit on tires. I wanted to do. Sitting on tires for the day now seems like an advantage. Exocaged used 3 exclamation points in his SCX24 Basecamp video, so it must be good. At this point, would we even be able to tell if it was satire? I worry that we would not. I looked up the length this screw needs to be, and then I forgot. It's a 15 and a nut. We're doing about half 15s and about half 16s. My drawer is going to be full of 15s after this. Yeah, the assembly of the cage, I did not take into account. The smallest that ever goes the UTB-18, and even then parts are kind of one-off. Yeah, I'm hoping that the UTB-18, because the UTB-18 is so fun and capable, I'm really hoping that it gets the parts, the aftermarket parts support that it deserves. I want to see more conversion type things like the bugger kit. I want to see more stuff like that come out for it. Like, I would love to see how, like, those ones that I gave away, the Mias for the TRX4M, I would love to see a treatment like that for the UTB-18. That would be outstanding. Yeah. Agreed on don't let anybody watch the upgrade videos on the SCX24, because they'll be like, "Oh, wow, we can make this whole thing billet and make a $400 SCX24. Yeah, she doesn't care. Nice. That's the place to be. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was going to say, I almost said it. Okay, so bump steer is not bad. We don't really have a lot in the way of axle sway. These are good things. Let me see. We might have a little bit of bump steer, which would probably present itself at speed. I do have to get the drag link bolted on, or we don't really have an accurate picture of how much that's going to move. But I will tell you that the crossover Panhard, despite what the gentleman said, that it doesn't matter what side it's attached to, I would counter that by saying it absolutely matters what side it is connected to. So somebody did their homework and they did their very best. And here is that damn servo that's doing the shift stuff, which can only mount that way because of the drive shaft. So you can see we already had to make a compromise, because look at that panhard to steer link. You could maybe put like a, I would put maybe, did they tell me to do it and I just didn't do it? No. You could put like a 2mm spacer under that and get those things perfectly parallel. They're only slightly off parallel. Look at that parallelism right there. What? Whoa, boy. Real good. And honestly, it's probably the spacing up. No, that would have made it a little worse. This horn is perfect, but because we have that upper link on the wrong side, we can do this. It's the link. It's the link binding. So it will literally go full collapse on this side, and we've got this. Now, maybe it being all plastic, like I can feel, like, look at that. Can't even wiggle it. It's so bound up. That's unfortunate. But that is not correctable. That's not baked in. What's the weight bias? 8515. As of right now, yeah, there's look at back there. Nothing. Oh. All right. We're going to set it down. We're going to set it down. We're going to grab the non-flanged lock nuts. No, they will not. They'll go right into the middles of those hubs. We're going to grab some flanged lock nuts, because I still, even without the cage, I don't think we're still seeing the size of the bear. The size of the bear. And Jora has a new chassis with an 8-degree skid. Oh. How's the triangulation? The front has got a lot. And the front upper, I'm wondering if it's just the bend. Like, this thing feels loaded already. Like, it feels, these guys, like, we can do this, right? That's good generally. This thing is like really tight. It's definitely said short to the front. I did not put that in wrong. I think I might just, well, I'll throw a curse to the sky. You might have to drill a hole through right there, because there's that screw. We got to undo the side to get to that upper link. So before the cage goes on, there's definitely a chance that I just change out that, oh, that's terrible. Look at that pinion angle in the front. It's not great. It's below the links. And there's very little caster in there. So you can't put any more in. That feels great. That feels terrible. Can you hear it? It is really, it's got to be that front upper. That front upper is just binding really badly. That's unfortunate. It's not wholly unexpected, because you can't just slap an upper link wherever you want. Upper triangulation is fighting the panhard. Just run the upper straighter. Yeah. I think offset ends and a straight link will fix it. All right. This now you should start to be getting. We should have some indication of how big a GOM is. It's surprisingly light. Now, we're going to be tacking a lot of plastic onto it, but it is surprisingly light for how big it is. G-Made shocks leak like crazy. I've built 3 sets. I have 1 set on a guy over there. I have a set here. I mean, we'll see. We will see. There it is. There it is. All right. Oh, man. That's horrible. It feels like something is extremely bound. It literally will not compress past there without an incredible amount of force to put that down. So that front upper link is a problem that has to be addressed. What are we looking at for toe? It's all right. It's all right. It might be towed in a tiny little bit of a hair. Okay, that's definitely, I mean, if somebody asked about Flex Friday, there's your Flex Friday. It's just shy of 200 millimeters on that. And, like, oh my God, that is an absolute catastrophe. That geometry in that front end. It literally, it's incredible. It is so locked up. It won't go down at all. Like, look at that. And then over here, nothing. Did I do something wrong? That can't be right. Like, is it supposed to be crossed over more? Was I supposed to have it in the other hole? That cannot be right. I cannot see clearly from any image. Nope, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's mad. That's absolutely mad. Very Wendigo-ish. It's not that it's worse, it's that link. So if that link is taken out of this equation, if that front upper is taken out of the equation, the geometry in the front looks great. Like, I can't even compress it to see. But we have, if bump steer, we have the tiniest bit of bump steer. I will say, it looks to me, I'm standing back and looking down it this way. It looks like the front axle is well over to one side. I mean, to the point where I feel like I had to have done something wrong. Nope, it's 55-55. So that's an optical illusion there. I don't know, maybe the wires are bringing that about. Inside edge of the tire to the chassis rail is 55 millimeters on both sides. So it's just the binding of that front upper, which must be binding brutally, because that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to get the front end, wait, where am I? Where am I? To get the front end, like, look at the shocks. They're perfectly, they have the exact same angle. We have the exact same spacing from tire to rail on both sides. The panhard and drag link are parallel this way and this way. So that way. They're parallel that way, they're parallel this way. All of it looks so good. It sits down just right. Boop. Like, right. That's, and here's the thing. I can fix that. But somebody else is going to sit down to build it, and maybe they can't fix that. That's a problem. And the whole reason that we're here, you have to think, You have to think. I don't know enough about Gmade to tell you if this apparatus exists anywhere else. Okay? I have to assume that this gearbox and T-case with the dig is unique to the GOM. And if that's the case, oh my god damn, it's trash can engineered. It's proper trash can engineered, because this thing is up here, so we can't move the front link over unless we lock this thing into first gear and do no first gear, no second gear, no dig. What's the point in that? Like, because the way they did the dual linkages with a single servo is clever on the one hand, but it's not correctable. We can't move that servo over to the other side. The drive shaft's in the way because we get equal length drive shafts. The drive shafts are great. The front angle is not great. That comes down to the axle. There's nothing we can do about it. There's a lot of things that we can't take care of, but the actual, the geometry itself looks pretty okay. The shock fitment, the clearances, we have a singular problem, correctable problem, and that is the front upper link. It's on the wrong side. There's nothing, I don't perceive that there's anything that I can do about that. There's nothing that I can do about that, because the servo is mounted there. Yeah, the servo's mounted there. I can't correct that. That bind though. You can hear the click. That's unfortunate. Everything else is pretty good, aside from the parts that were designed wrong. And I mean, we'll know pretty quick if it is unsafe at any speed. It's definitely going to be able to go slow. I think we can do that. I got what? I got a minute. I got 3 minutes. We can make a move. It's not going to do much, but it'll be able to move. And here's hoping that I didn't accidentally rotate that horn, because if I accidentally rotated that horn, the steering is going to go. The steering could go really bad, really fast. We will hope against hope. You know what? The O-ring kind of works. Run upper link more parallel with the frame, undoing the upper link triangulation. All right. Yeah, I mean, aside from interference, like I don't see why it has a crinkle in it. It doesn't look like it needs to have a crinkle in it. And worst case, I can run it on the outside of the mount with a lock nut on the outside of it, and then I can get that link pretty much straight to the point where I don't even know if I need angled rod ends on it. Please stay straight, steering. Got 1 and 2 and 2 in 1. I wish I could say I've never done that before. But boy, have I. Steering. Reversed. Throttle, reverse. Might as well do a little calibrate. We don't even have to reverse it. You know what? Running upper on that side is fine. Not in this case. Will the offset ball ends from axial fix it? No, they're double shear. So we have to replace the ends, and so link is off. a little bit. We can just sub-trim that out. We can sub-trim that out. I keep getting the wrong camera. Yeah, see, we need to be about there. It doesn't sound as terrible as I thought. Okay, and that is in low. Okay. That's how you find out if your endpoints aren't right. Hey, there's dig. We got dig. We have dig. Okay, so low and dig work. High is just acting weird. And this thing would handle apocalyptically because of that bind up in the front, from the front upper. It just will not compress. I will run through that. We're not going to have to. Yeah, we had neutral. Oh, it's almost there. Now I can't remember which endpoint that is. So I might get the wrong one. Let's assume it's this one. There it is. There's high. There's low. And now that messed up dig. There's, wait, low, dig. Okay, now dig needs a couple more points. Okay, there's dig. There's low. And we are two-wheel drive. Almost. Oh, it's gonna be pretty fiddly. Ooh, high is snappy. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't be too bad. Do the rod ends not have enough movement? So underwhelming. Well, are we in high? Yeah, we're in high. Yeah, I think a 2300 will get us there. We don't have a lot of room to move here. Yeah, the steering is definitely not trimmed center. We didn't need to worry about that. No, we definitely need second gear. It's just going to be getting that sub trim. That seems about right. Let me see. Yeah, there is not a lot of steer angle. That's the case with the Rift as well, because they're not technically selling us rock crawlers. They're selling us bouncers or whatever these things are called. 377 millimeter wheelbase. 377. Outer track on this combo, 320. It's a big thing, and it's going to get bigger once it, let's see. So this guy will go, I think, right about there. So there's about, there's what you're going to be working with. It's pretty big. If this guy wants to try to go a little faster, God bless him, because we have tried to get live axles to go fast, and it's not a thing. They don't like it. They don't like to go fast. Any rig that is independent suspension is going to beat the ever-loving snot out of something with live axles trying to go fast. Period. But if we can get it to go fast, I tried it with the Rift. I tried to go fast with the Rift, and I didn't like it, and I ended up converting the Rift into a crawler. I don't think, well, I don't want to go through all of the hullabaloo to turn this thing into a crawler. But I say that now, you know, it's not even assembled, so who knows how I will feel later. Particularly, here's another insight into why I don't know how I'll feel later. Tomorrow's video is another occurrence of the dumb. I did that thing that I threatened in a live stream some long moment ago when I said I was going to put a Mamba X and a 3500 in a Red Cap Marksman, and I did that, and that's tomorrow. And then after that, it's our good buddy the Coop over there, and then after that, the wait was long. There they are. They had their test very recently. That's coming up. Landmine Redux coming up. We've got stuff, man. We went places and we did things. We've got upcoming content. And then another Wheelin' Wednesday. And even if you're not a regular follower of a Wheelin' Wednesday, you gotta pop in for that one, because Group 6 is Zorana, who is a phoenix of sorts. It is the ZRD Mullet. It's Lil Yella, and it's Daphne. That's a group. That is a group. I don't know. Everybody in that group, as far as I'm concerned, is capable of 29-0, of doing a full pull with no falls. We will see. We will find out together as an erstwhile collective. So I'm going to take this opportunity. I got a text from the wife. That means that time runs nigh. I would like to thank you so much for joining us here in the canyon for this. For this. Did you go out in the street with the marksman? Oh, I did. I did. It's every bit, however stupid you're imagining it to be, go higher. Hopefully a good time will be had by all. I feel like today, yeah, Wednesday will go fast. The wheelbase on the GOM, in case you missed it, is 377 millimeters. At least that's what I measured on this one as it's sitting right here. So I am going to fix it. We're going to make this thing work. I need this. All I need from this is be able to crawl just a little. Just a little. You can get away. You got to be able to crawl. You have spooled axles. Be able to crawl. And then go fast just a little. Because I think it's going to look super dope. And it'll be a rig that I want to take places once we fix this. That's wild. Genuinely, it's so bad, I feel like I did something wrong, but I don't think I did. So, if there's a thing I don't think that we did wrong, it was meeting up here today for these shenanigans. And did an axle become not attached on the Marksman? I don't think I'm giving any spoilers to say we broke some stuff. Some stuff broke on ye old Marksman. So we'll put, I don't know. I will make the decision in between now and then as to whether or not I am going to just finish putting this together so that we can drive it. I don't know. I don't know if we'll do another week of the, I've got a couple days of content to edit. I've got a couple days more content to shoot. I will decide somewhere in the middle what we're going to do. And we'll all find out together, because even at this moment, I still don't know. I know that my bench is an absolute wreck. And the way I do this on Fridays is I turn off the cameras, I turn off the lights, and I walk away. I'm going to leave you all. I bid you farewell and adieu, because to throw back to last week. It is martini time again. It's time to leave you. So I will see you all, as per usual, in the next one. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Canyon. Look forward to seeing you in all the videos. I look forward to seeing you here next week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us. With that, I come over here to the mouse and I click stop streaming. And I will see you all